Maverick News, the antivirus program for your mind. And now, the Freedom Reporters.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Maverick News channel. Tonight, Donald Trump, a twofer with the Don. First, we'll talk about his address to a Bitcoin conference. Then later, we will pick up his rally in Minnesota, live from the scene. And we are also going to bring Dragon in a moment. He was out gathering news, as a good news gatherer should, getting a reaction to Kamala Harris, yes, Donald Trump's opponent, apparent or de facto opponent in the presidential race, getting reaction to the fact that she attended high school in Montreal, Canada. She's more Canadian than anyone knew. In fact, she's so Canadian, it's fueling conspiracy theories. And we will talk a little bit about that tonight. The crew on the Boeing Starliner, it looks like maybe they've got a one-way ticket to outer space and maybe no way to get home. Or maybe they'll fix the problem and get them back, but it's been 51 days and they're still stuck in space. We've got a pretty good show lined up for you tonight. News program. I don't like using the word show. It's not really a show. It's news. It's journalism. And we'll try to get you closer to the truth with our work when we come back right after this.
You know, someone very profoundly once said many years ago that if fascism ever comes to America, it'll come in the name of liberalism.
Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the Founding Fathers. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on Earth.
The entire world is watching.
Every dictator, every crazy dictator in the world is watching.
The world is watching. On TV, the entire world is watching. On social media.
But the entire world is watching, and yes, they are seeing what we have apparently bravely been willing to say that others are thinking.
Stand for freedom. Literally stand for freedom. Let's get this done. The entire world is watching.
We're at war with the most dangerous enemy that has ever faced mankind in his long climb from the swamp to the stars.
Maverick News. Maverick News. Maverick News.
Let me have more control of my own destiny.
The world is watching. Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals. Defenders of individual rights and freedoms. Credible. Trusted. Grounded in reality. Maverick News. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, so before we dig into Starliner thing and the what else do we have? We had Trump at the Bitcoin conference. Let's bring Dragon in because he has been working hard over the last couple of days on a significant story. It's
Yeah, I do.
It's a Canusa story. Do you know what I mean by Canusa?
Please explain to me.
Canada, USA.
Oh,
It's a
Canusa.
Canusa story.
Oh, well,
Canusa.
it's true, it is.
And it's a Canusa story because it involves Kamala Harris,
Kamala Harris.
who evidently attended high school in Montreal.
Yeah.
How many? Who would have thunk that Kamala Harris was a Kanakistan in her teenage years?
Well, little that you know, I didn't know that. I wasn't aware of this since, like, say, 4 days ago. And when I stumbled on that, because, well, you did actually gave me a little hint there. You told me about that, so I dug into the storyline.
Well, it's a joint effort here.
A joint effort. So,
but you're on the scene. You're in Montreal. You're in Montreal, and you know what really struck me about this was that not only were you unaware, almost everyone not everyone, but most people in Montreal are not aware that Kamala Harris is a Montreal person. How do you like my French accent?
Well, it's good accent actually. But no, I will be honest with you. While I was walking around, and some people are, camera shy, but I could have, asked a few people question on the street, like, did you know about Kamala Harris, who has been attending to Westmount High School? And people were mostly aware of it. They were not aware of all the situation and all the involvement of Kamala Harris in Westmount High School, because she graduated actually from there. So, yeah, it is interesting to know that she was part of my little city when I was a toddler.
Yes, she was. So here's a sitting U.S. vice president who is now the de facto presidential nominee for the Democrats running against Donald Trump. And she spent her formative years in Montreal. So I guess her mother, Shyamala Gopalan, was a breast cancer researcher. You mentioned that previously, which I wasn't really, when we were speaking earlier, I wasn't cluing in. I was like, why is Dragon telling me all this stuff about cancer research and her mom? I didn't get it. Now I understand. So her mom taught at McGill University, and she was a cancer researcher. Is that right?
Yeah, she was a cancer researcher at the Jewish General Hospital of Montreal at the same time that she was professing at McGill University. So she was a busy woman, as you can notice. But she, the research that she has done on the breast cancer procedure still around today and still used, because her finding was pretty amazing.
What is also amazing is that there are no plaques on the walls in the school mentioning this. There's no mention of this on the White House website. There's no mention of this that I've seen on any of the websites involved with her campaign. This is like all on the down low. It's not spoken of very much.
No.
When Kamala Harris visited Canada and she was hanging out with Justin Trudeau, I remember there was a clip. I don't have it here, but she referred to her mom teaching at McGill and said that she spent time in Montreal, but didn't actually come out and say that she attended high school. But she was there between what years, Dragon?
78 to 81.
And she graduated?
Yeah, she graduated from Westmount High School.
Amazing. And so the people there, I guess The
It's
locals, the
50%.
people who
Some
go to
people
school
know,
there,
some people don't.
but the people who attend school there, the teachers, the people they must be aware, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, a young lady of the name of Joy that I did actually ask on the street about her impression. She had a lot of thing to say about the fact that Kamala Harris was actually intended at the school, but there's no memorial. There's no plaque or photographic proof of that at the school. Like, say, I mean, if I would be myself a school. Someone who has a school, as a private guy, I mean,
Yep.
I would probably be putting awareness of that Kamala Harris has been to my school and probably that, where she is now as the vice president and a big personality as an American citizen. Well, it would be a good
And
thing.
all
there.
this is fueling these fueling talk about whether Kamala Harris should even be eligible to run for president. Some people alleging that she's not a proper U.S. citizen. I mean, here we go again with the whole, Obama was not born in the United States thing.
If
Only
I got
now-
my research
only now-
correct,
sorry,
her
what's that?
mom was actually divorced at the moment that she got in Montreal. So this is kind of why, and actually she went to Montreal because of work. I mean, she was on researching on some medical procedures and stuff, and it was really important. And McGill was a really important place where those research were made. We do have some beautiful investment into science there on the medical procedures. So this is why I think it is important probably to make a little statement here that it was important that she had made her way there because of that purpose.
Right. So her father is Jamaican, her mother is from India,
Yeah.
but they were living in the United States when she was born, so we're told. So she has a U.S. birth certificate, but
Exactly.
then her mom was teaching at McGill while Kamala was a teenager. So in 1978, between 78 and 81, she attended Westmount Secondary School in Montreal
Mm-hmm.
and graduated.
Yeah.
Okay, so those are the
She was 12 when Kamala Harris put her feet on Montreal soils.
okay. And you spent some time on the street
Mm-hmm.
talking to Montrealers about all of this. And so you shot the footage, you did the interviews, you did all the heavy lifting on this, and I've taken your work, sir, and I've prepared a special presentation with
did you?
with your videography and interviews. And I'm calling this the Kamala Harris Maple Leaf Rag, in honor of her connection to Canada. Ladies and gentlemen, please get out your maple syrup, sit back, and enjoy.
And de facto nominee for the Democratic nomination for president.
I'm in front of the Westmount High School in Westmount, Montreal, where Kamala Harris did actually attended from 78 to 81 and graduated. So I'm going to find out the reaction of the people on the street and ask a few questions.
Well, first thing first, it's a good one, let's say, because we are kind of neighbors, you understand? Secondly, I'm happy that Montreal could give such a name in the politics at the level of United States, and she has already held this position as vice president, so it's something.
So I'm with Kristen right now, and I'm gonna ask her reaction about Kamala Harris, who has attended to Westmount High School. So what's your reaction about that?
I think that's great. I honestly don't know much about Westmount High School, but it's cool that she spent a good portion of time in Montreal. I love Montreal, I'm a Montrealer, so I'd say I'm proud of that in some way.
Well, how do you react about Kamala Harris, who is our Vice President of the United States?
I'm impressed.
And yeah, you're impressed?
Yes.
You ever watch her laugh? She's crazy.
So I'm right on the other side of the street of Westmount High School, and well, if you allow me, let me show you what the school looked like. There's some renovation being made right now, but yeah, this is Westmount High School. And a little fun fact, when I was a kid, because yeah, Dragon was once a little pup. Well, you see that street right there? This is Metcalf Street. And at the end of the street in that direction, there were another little small high school for people who had dyslexia and stuff like that, which I did attend in the 90s. So, well, little I know that I probably have came across little Kamala Harris when she was a kid. And do you think she will have some positive outcomes for Canada?
Oh, this is hard to estimate because I don't think the priority for the United States is Canada right now. They have a lot on their plate to solve internally, externally, and Canada will be always an ally for the United States no matter how.
So I'm with Karen right now, and she's gonna react to Kamala Harris, who has graduated from Westmount High School.
Westmount High School.
So if you can just put the mic just next to you.
Okay.
So, what's your reaction about Kamala Harris?
I already knew that when she was vice president. Well, she's still vice president, but I think it's phenomenal. I think it's really cool. It gives Westmount Montreal a little air, a global air. But maybe people don't know her mother at the time. The reason she went to high school here is because her mother was a research scientist in cancer at the Jewish General, and I believe she also worked at McGill as a teacher, as a professor.
What's your reaction about that?
So I told them I don't have too much of an opinion. I think it's cool that she went to this school, but she doesn't really claim the school. It's a bit of a small world, like you had said. But other than that, there hasn't been too much going on at this school. Like there's no, I would think that'd be like people showing up at the school, or there would be something, but no, everything looks normal. They're just doing construction.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a small world, right?
It's very impressive.
Yeah. Do you think she's gonna become the next president?
I think so.
But no, she's crazy as a bedbug.
Would you vote for her if you were American?
I would.
You would? All right.
So I think it's great. I tell everybody about that because I live right in the neighborhood. Well,
Right.
I live in the neighborhood. I just think it's great. She went to high school, and then I believe she went straight to California, but I'm not sure about that.
Yeah.
But she went to university
In the school. Like there's
no memoriam
Non,
about
il n'y a
her.
pas de mémoire, il y a rien dans l'école.
All right.
Ouais, c'est ça.
So,
C'est bon?
Thank you.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you guys.
So this is
great,
Yeah.
isn't it?
this is the
It
path
shows
she
what a
went.
small world we live in.
Yeah, a really small world.
So everybody.
All right, thanks.
I hope she does well.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you, sir. Funny though. I mean, I did like that little montage. It's going with my funny part.
Yeah, she's crazy as a bed bug. Kamala Harris. Laughing Kamala, cackling Kamala.
She
It is.
she
That was
does have
fun.
a beautiful laugh, eh?
Oh man. So yeah, I will have to. I guess we just sit back and enjoy the ride. But why do you think it's not getting more attention?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I would be proud of someone that is probably vice president, even if, well, even if you're not probably inclined with her policies, or if you're not uh, right on her point of views, doesn't mean that you cannot be proud of that little fact. I mean, it's a small world, like I supposed to know on one of the questioning. It is a small world, right? I mean, she could have attended to any other high school in the world, but she attended to Montreal Westmount High School, so it should be a big thing, I think, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it seems her time there was rather unremarkable. Not like she was an overachiever or that she did anything to, really stand out. Although her yearbook does have an entry that describes her favorite pastime as dancing with midnight magic. Whatever that means. I guess it's a dance troupe she founded with her friend. And she says also in her yearbook, apparently, it says there's an entry in there that says that her favorite saying is, "Nah, I'm just playing." Whatever that means. I don't know. I guess you could use that in a variety of situations like, are you kidding me? Nah, I'm just playing. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing that might be, it's a thing here.
Yeah.
Montreal or just, nah, don't give a shit.
Yeah. And you say you went to school just down the street from where
Yeah,
she.
there were a small school for, well, people would call that problem with authorities, or say dyslexic problem, neurologic type of thing. So basically, the school was just right down Metcalfe Street. It was called Vanguard Intercultural School. So basically, the VIC, and they have moved from there. But I do remember that we had some cool fun with the other school next to us, because it was like just a street away. So yeah, some people were having some fun friends around there.
Interesting. She also apparently organized a protest at one point during her high school years, something to do with allowing children to play on the lawn. I don't know what that means. That's just something I found online about her. Yeah, and now she's risen to fame on the political scene. She could end up being the first female president of the United States of America.
Hmm. I mean, that's kind of something.
But boy, this Canadian connection, though, it sure has resulted in a lot of, well, conspiracy theories, if
Hmm.
you want to call them that. I know that Trump was asked about her eligibility, whether she should be eligible to run as president, just I think 2 days ago in a news conference. And he said, I don't know about that. I have to look into that more. I thought, no, you know exactly what's going on, man. You're just playing coy. Uh, he's just milking it, using it. He didn't really want to commit one way or another for fear of probably being accused of making false accusations or exploiting the rumors. But I think that he wants them to persist because he knows that kind of thing only helps his campaign. What do you think about all that?
Well, probably true. I mean, strategically speaking, for a campaign, you would probably let ferment some thoughts, even if they're untrue, because that might help your campaign if those thoughts are coming to the other campaigners. So, for
Now
sure.
at that school, would they speak English, French, or both?
No, the Westmount High School, I think it's English. It's an English school.
Okay.
Vanguard actually was both. They were part of the school that was French and English. So I had a lot of lot of people and friends from both sides. But no, the thing is that it is part of Westmount is really English. It's an Anglophone suburb of Montreal. So, and it's one of the wealthiest place that you can find, because there's no room there if you don't have like a lot of money and Hosea to get there. Because I mean, for example, on the top of the Mont Royal, where you got one of the portion of Westmount, there's a few actors who had once in a while bought houses in there. So I mean, yeah, you got Hollywood stars that live around there, because Canadian are known for leaving people alone, kind of thing. When you're a star, we're not like running after you for autographs and selfies or whatever. We are pretty proud of that. So actor will probably sometime buy house around there. I think Mel Gibson had a house uh, in Westmount.
So she was born in California, so we're told. Born in California, moved to Montreal, and she's learned to speak English fluently in California. Some people say she might speak a little bit of French. She apparently knows a few Spanish words. Boy, I bet she's just as messed up as I am when it comes to speaking language. I know a little bit of, I'm in the same boat. I know like a smattering of Spanish. At one time, I could almost speak fluently because I studied it in college, but I've forgotten almost all of it now. So I just mix it up with my, the French that I was taught in elementary and high school, and then I take my English and it just messes me up. So I can't pronounce certain words like you.
Well,
between the two of us, we can just destroy entire languages.
Fun fact, before I had a phone with a beautiful autocorrector kind of thing, I used to do a lot of mistake with French word in English. Say I would speak or type in English to someone, and sometimes I would struggle with a French or English word, the way you would grammar the thing between the two, and people goes like, "What is that English?" That was funny though. But fun fact, phones always good.
Very well. This is kind of a cool story. It's it can't hurt to have that Canadian connection, especially if she does end up being president. It might be a good thing for Canada. You'd think she would have a soft spot in her heart for her old alma mater.
Yeah, well, as you know, Canadian and US has a fair trade between them. So I hope so that it will soften our free trade program between us.
Yes. Yeah. Well, time will tell. She seems to be injecting new life into the Democratic presidential campaign. There's a lot more energy around her campaign than there was with Joe Biden. And this was the scene at a rally today. This is the crowd. So you can see the people are showing up. I'm just gonna yank this audio down so we don't get a copyright strike. But I don't know. There's not as much energy there as you see at Trump rallies, though. That's for sure. But there's a lot more here than there ever was at any of the rallies I ever saw for Joe Biden.
That's true. But compared to a Trump rally, not so much.
Yeah.
No shooter inside, eh?
And the polls that I'm seeing are sort of they still seem to be pretty tight. Trump out in front, but the polls suggest that it's still a tight race. And the shooting, the attempted assassination of Trump, didn't seem to give him as much of a bump as some people were expecting. But I said that when that happened, what it's really going to do is it's not likely going to give him a big bump in the polls, just a little one. I said, but it will galvanize, firm up the support from his base of support, and it will motivate them to get out to the polls. You'll get a higher percentage now of MAGA supporters out there voting, and that can also make the difference. That's just as good, or maybe not just as good, but it is just as good. It's just as good as getting a little bit of a bump in the poll, because it still translates into more votes at the end of the election.
Well, I will probably argue also that both will, because if you look at Biden stepping down, it's like another controversy, but just for the Democrat part, right? So, and you got at the same time Trump attempt assassination. So if you gather the both of them in a way, it's like it will galvanize both sides. More voters going to come on both sides in a way. I'm not sure which one side's going to gather more, but it's probably like non-voter or usual non-voter that thinks that their vote doesn't mean anything, or that they doesn't want to vote for XYZ reason, might go to vote now because they want to have some change to be done, whatever the side they are from. So yeah, I think it is the truth.
So I just want to pivot away from politics for a moment. Well, everything is political. I want to talk a little bit about this Jasper wildfire. We're going to come back to some political things, and we're going to go live to the Trump rally in Minnesota, I think in about 20 minutes. So hang in there, and we'll bring you that stuff live with Trump. But I did want to talk about this this wildfire in Jasper again, this tragedy. We're told tonight that it's being described by officials as now the biggest or most devastating wildfire in the national park's history. Jasper National Park. Actually, it's provincial park, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, it's national.
It's
Jasper
national.
National Park.
It's a national park.
It's administered by Parks Canada, and it's the largest the national park has ever recorded in the last century. So an estimated 358 of 1,113 structures have now been confirmed as destroyed. And it's going to take quite a while for the town to recover from this. In addition to that, we're also being told that the fire there, the wildfire, could burn for maybe even months still. It was so big, so intense. They're having trouble actually extinguishing this, but and it's still out of control. 1/3 of the town destroyed, at least 25,000 people displaced. They had to evacuate, and the mayor of the community himself visited his own home, which was also destroyed while touring, surveying the damage with other officials. And here's what that looked like as he came across his own home destroyed as part of his his job out there assessing the damage. Here it is.
It was a family home. Oh my gosh. Oh.
Yeah, for 67.
Oh. Can't even believe it.
With the leadership that you showed, how many lives were saved?
Well, and I can now speak to those residents who are in the same spot.
Yeah. You know exactly
I
what
can say I feel their pain.
Like I said, I'm not a hugger, but
Thanks, Shane.
Whatever you need.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make the tour about this.
No, you make it more personal so that people could relate.
But, you know, a full tank of gas, and the car didn't go up. So, yeah. Which all things considered. Yeah. It's in yeah, well,
I weren't sure if I should leave here or if we should come and let you.
So many fires over the years, and the worst part of a fire that destroys a home, it's not so much the loss of the building, it's all the stuff inside that hold memories for people. It's the photographs, the mementos, family heirlooms. Those are things that simply for people can't ever be replaced. No amount of insurance can bring those things back. Memories, ties to family, your family history sometimes is lost.
This is one thing. Is that the example?
This is a file cabinet.
A file cabinet?
It had been up on the...
It's upside down, right?
It's upside down. It's got all my income tax records. You want them?
Oh boy.
I wonder...
Mr. Mayor, what else do you see in there?
I see memories of life. I see 67 years.
Did you grow up in this?
We moved in time for my second birthday. I was telling the minister, I think somewhere in there is a photograph of me with a birthday cake and sitting on packing boxes when I was 2. And now it's just memories of family and fun. So many others are going to go through the same thing.
It goes back to expanding.
It's a small house, 3 bedrooms. Still think.
Whoops.
So we'll take a short break and come back. Stay with me.
He's a fighter. He's a survivor. President Trump, defiant, strong. He is determined to make America great again. Pay tribute to the 45th President of the United States with this collectible t-shirt from the Maverick News Memorable Moments collection. Even a would-be assassin's bullet could not stop him. Instead, he emerged with his fist in the air ready to fight. For freedom. Get your Trump Fighting for Freedom t-shirt with any donation of $30 or more to Maverick News. There are 2 iconic artistic designs to choose from. But there is only one way to get these. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Support free speech. Free media. Support Maverick News. Call 1-866-248-1490 or order online at supergeeks.tv.
Okay, so get them while they're hot, folks. Those Trump teas. We need some more. Honestly, we need some more people to pick a couple of them up because we need to get that minimum order in for them. I'm going to get them done regardless, but it would be really nice to not, suffer too much financially on them. So if you want to support the channel, you can do that by ordering a Trump t-shirt or even a Maverick News t-shirt. Any donation of $30 or more, and we'll send you either one of the Trump tees. Where are the pictures of those? I have stills, I think, of them too. Here we are.
Mind if I ask you a question?
Sure, yeah.
If people want to donate but don't want to put their money on, say, their credit card or something like that, and they want to use a prepaid card, is that possible to do so?
Like a prepaid credit card?
Yeah, like, for example, vanilla, MasterCard or stuff like this.
I would imagine. I personally don't use those prepaid cards
I did try
myself,
in the past, and it didn't work.
It didn't work. I don't know. I mean,
I ask also because probably somebody else also wanted to, go through that hoops to get, some donation. But it's good to ask, I think it's a good question.
I mean, as far as I know, if it works like a credit card, you should be able to use it at at freedomreporters.com, and that's just a PayPal link. So if you can use a credit card there, if you choose to, and so I would imagine it works that way. The other place to donate is at maverickdonations.com, and you could donate, I suppose, by sending an e-transfer. I don't think you can do that with a prepaid credit card, though. That would come straight from an account at maverickmultimedia@mail.com. So you could get your Trump tee that way, or your Maverick t-shirt, Maverick News t-shirt.
Ooh, I'm counting on it.
Yeah, and if you do that, you have to complete the security question. And so if you can assign the password to be Maverick, then we'll know what the answer is going to be in advance, and that will simplify things because it does go into a business account for proper accounting, and you can send an e-transfer that way. Yeah, it's just that simple. You can also support the channel, though, simply by liking, sharing, subscribing. Share it out there. Share the program out. Help us build the channel, and thumbs up. The thumbs ups really help. Let's get those thumbs up going on the YouTube channels, especially, and over on Rumble.
Thumbs up.
Yeah, show Dragon your love. Give Dragon a big thumbs up. Yeah. And if you're, we should probably do is get set up to accept Bitcoin too. I haven't done that, but everybody's getting on that bandwagon. And Dragon, Donald Trump just is at a Bitcoin conference, in fact, and we have him queued up and ready to rock and roll. Let's bring up the Trumpster, explaining why Kamala Harris is a threat to Bitcoin and why he is now determined to make Bitcoin great again.
He said, I'm not getting out. I got 14 million votes. I'm not getting out. They said, if you're not getting out, we're going to institute the 25th Amendment on your mental competence. He said, like I said before, I think I'm going to get out. Okay? And they got him out. But it's like, think of this. You fight, you're in a campaign. You spend a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of effort, and he's losing. And then they say, let's take him out of the fight. We'll put a new fighter in there. The new fighter is her, probably my second choice. He will always be my first choice, but she'd be my second choice. And again, if we don't win this race, and I know you're not that political, but you have to be political because your whole thing, I mean, you have a lot of politics involved in what you do. If we don't win this race, this country could be finished as we know it. This country is going to be in bad shape, and we have to be in there. We have to fight, and we have to win. And I pledge to the Bitcoin community that the day I take the oath of office, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's anti-crypto crusade will be over. It will end. It'll be done. It'll be done. The moment I'm sworn in, the persecution stops and the weaponization ends against your industry. And as long as I'm in the Oval Office, Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas, do you remember? Yes, I'm an Indian. Yes, she said, I'm an Indian. Why are you an Indian? You don't look like an Indian. No, my mother told me I have high cheekbones. Oh, that's why she was an Indian. So I named her Pocahontas. Elizabeth Warren and her goons, and she's very nasty to you. She hates your people. She hates everything about you. Will keep their hands off Bitcoin. They're going to keep their hands off crypto. They're going to let it grow. We're going to let it grow. On day one, I will fire Gary Gensler and appoint a new SEC chairman. I didn't know he was that unpopular. Wow. I didn't know he was that unpopular. Let me say it again. On day one, I will fire Gary Gensler. Whoa.
That was a Trump punchline.
That's at least he had here, we'll just take that off. At least he had the common sense to make the most of it, right? Well, they really like that when I say I'm going to fire that guy. I'll say it again. Let's do it again. Go for a third time. I think twice was good. So he's going to end the Biden-Harris war on crypto. But some people are saying that that RFK Jr. sort of beat Trump to the punch yesterday with his address to the Bitcoin conference when he said that he was going to establish essentially a digital currency Fort Knox with Bitcoin. So let me show you what RFK Jr. had to say. I was going to bring this to you live yesterday, but the audio was all messed up on the feed coming out of the Bitcoin 2024 conference. But here's what he had to say.
I intend, as President of the United States, to sign an executive order on day one, directing the Department of Justice and the U.S. Marshals to transfer the approximately 200,000 Bitcoin held by the U.S. government to the United States Treasury, where it will be held as a strategic asset. On day one as president, I will sign another executive order directing the U.S. Treasury to purchase 550 Bitcoin daily until the U.S. has built a reserve of at least 4 million Bitcoins. And a position of dominance that no other country will be able to usurp. Our nation holds approximately 19% of global gold reserves. This policy will give us about the same proportion of total Bitcoin. The cascading impact from these actions will eventually move Bitcoin to a valuation of hundreds of trillions of dollars. On day one as president, I will sign also an executive order directing the IRS to issue public guidelines that all transactions between Bitcoin and the US dollar are unreportable transactions. and by extension, non-taxable. On day one as president, I will also sign an executive order directing the IRS to treat Bitcoin as an eligible asset for 1031 exchange into real property.
Wow. So, wow. If you make a capital gain with Bitcoin, he would exempt it from capital gains tax, income tax. It wouldn't be taxable. That would give Bitcoin a real boost. That would give Bitcoin an advantage. It would create an incentive for people to move their Bitcoin, frankly, from dollars to Bitcoin. I'm not sure that that particular policy is that wise. It it sounds great, but the dollar is already under pressure. If he does that, I'm not sure that's wise. I'm not. That needs more study.
It's probably a trap, but would you think that it goes along with the globalist agenda or not? Or he's trying to go against the globalist agenda by doing that? Like
he's trying to appeal to the sensibilities of people who are pro-freedom, like myself, who are who are advocates for less government, true libertarians, people on the conservative side, people who are adopters of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, who want privacy in their transactions, who want government taken out of the process of conducting business transactions and trade. But this is coming from, honestly, a candidate. I think he's flapping his gums without fully thinking things through. The unforeseen impacts, maybe the unintended consequences of this, could be catastrophic if he's not careful. This is the first I've heard of anyone offering or suggesting a policy like this, so I haven't fully thought this through. But you already have a US dollar that is under pressure internationally. It's at risk of being dethroned as the world reserve currency. Bitcoin is one of those things that is putting pressure on the dollar. And if he exempts Bitcoin from taxation and also puts in a law that guarantees privacy of transactions, then there's no way to track any of that money. People would move a lot of money into Bitcoin, taking it out of dollars. They would convert US dollars into Bitcoin. It would reduce demand for the dollar. The dollar would drop in value. It would also, if you had a significant amount of people doing that, converting their dollars into Bitcoin and then conducting transactions over there, that could also hollow out the tax system and reduce overall federal revenue substantially, potentially. It would also make it much more difficult to track criminal activity, financial criminal activity online, or through the blockchain. If he makes it illegal to track transactions at all online, if it's no longer necessary to report income derived from Bitcoin, if he makes it illegal for legal policing agencies to conduct investigations and dig into transactions conducted in Bitcoin, you already have a lot of people using Bitcoin to conduct drug deals, arms trade, all these kinds of things. That needs a lot more scrutiny, because again, while it sounds fantastic, it may actually contribute to further destabilization of our society, of his country. He's on a, I don't know about that.
Well, this is where I'm arguing probably that the incentive where he's trying to build up a centralized compartment of that Bitcoin manufacturers against probably the globalist to get their hand onto the CDC or BCDC, how you want to call it,
The
type of thing.
CBDC, the central bank digital currency
Right.
thing, right? Which Bitcoin is not issued by a central bank. It isn't. But
It's
yeah, I mean,
decentralized.
there are some people who believe that Bitcoin is an invention of government to begin with.
Some will say that it's CIA type of
Right. That's the conspiracy that comes with the reality of Bitcoin. I don't necessarily believe that. And there are some people who believe that it's ultimately going to be a scam that is going to bankrupt the country and destroy savings for people, because eventually it will just plunge in value. And if people lose confidence in it, and that's really what ultimately supports any currency anyway, is public trust and confidence in the currency, which is also why it's very risky. If he takes US dollars and converts them into Bitcoin to the value of trillions of dollars, and then uses that as a strategic store of wealth to back up the economy, I'm not sure what ultimately that would do. I mean, if you're using it to back up the US dollar, then I guess that could be okay. But in order to, I mean, I don't know. It's like you're going to buy this Bitcoin with probably US dollars. So then you're hoping that it goes up in value, which if they're buying that much, then it would increase the value of the Bitcoin at least.
Would you agree that with the time that we are in now, with the new technology that we didn't have back in 60s with JFK, it's a kind of a 180 with what JFK did try to do back in the days and what we're kind of going through with the new technology and the new currencies that we can find around.
What are you referring to with JFK?
Well, JFK did wanted to go away from the Federal Reserve, if I do remember, and shut it down in a way. If I do remember my story well, JFK wanted to cut down the in a certain way the
that was really
Federal
stuff
Reserve.
that happened more in the 70s with Nixon, not so much under JFK. But yeah, you're referring to economic.
It's a kind of a shakedown of the system.
In any event, the whole, like, this is, I'm surprising myself sitting here saying he should rethink this campaign platform plank that suggests that he would implement a policy of, complete privacy in transactions and exempting it from all taxation. Normally, as a freedom-loving conservative kind of guy, I would advocate for that and I would embrace it. And I kind of do on the one hand, but on the other hand, I'm also a realist. And I'm not an anarchist. You see, I believe in less government, not no government. And I guess the reason it seems so disruptive to me and potentially disastrous is because that would be a severe jolt to the entire system. It could just shock the economy, and in ways that he has not fully thought out. This
is where I'm arguing, where JFK wanted to give a shock and a jolt to that system that they were living in back then, and that, as you stated, Reagan did his thing with that. But it was a jolt to the system in the same way it is a jolt to the system now. It is probably going to backfire in a way that, as you said, RFK probably didn't thought so. So, but it's probably just my point of view.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on. Let me just see what else we have here. It's coming up on 8 p.m. Let me just check in and see if that Trump rally has started yet in Minnesota. He went all the way from Nashville, flying up to Minnesota. And should see Trump arriving pretty soon. He's not on stage yet. He's in St. Cloud, Minnesota tonight. Just about ready to take the stage. We'll dip into all of that. Now here's excuse me, clearing my throat there. Let's take some time, take a moment anyway, to survey some of the damage in Jasper, some new footage. This coming directly from Premier Danielle Smith, Premier of Alberta.
Yeah, if I may, it's devastating, and I feel bad for the people of Jaspers and BC in general. So my heart goes to them.
Yeah. It's hard to imagine losing, a third of your entire town that way.
Mm-hmm.
So that being released by the Premier's office, that footage.
Yeah, I don't know what to say much, but totally, I feel bad for you guys, and I'm not the kind of guy who pray, but my prayers go to you guys.
Yeah, and there's this other story that I've been hearing about out of Wasaga Beach. Have you heard about this?
Mm-hmm. I know.
My
Yeah, Rebel News
gosh.
doing some
Well,
report on.
not just Rebel News, it's other media outlets as well. And Wasaga Beach, I guess you have some people setting up tents, and inside the tents, they're defecating. So the mayor is going to pass a motion or make a motion on Monday, calling on the provincial government to ban tents on the beach and improve the way that the beach is maintained and patrolled. I'd never, wow.
I
I
know.
just, again, any comment?
My comment would be I never thought to see that or hear about people defecating on the beach in 2024. This is a new thing for me, and I'm like, what is that, guys? Come on.
Now, I'm hearing that it's one particular group of people, and I'm inclined to believe that. And yet, when I'm looking at and this is why I'm saying it's multiple media outlets reporting this, but when I'm looking at the majority of the mainstream media, they're not identifying the group that is doing it. What do you think of that? Dragon?
Yeah, well, I'm doing some research, and I think that there's no people who's doing those kind of thing in Montreal beaches. But no, it's why is people doing that? Can you tell me?
Well, it's apparently a cultural thing, and so these folks, I'm told, anyway, I've not been there, but I'm told that it's a cultural thing, and in the country that they come from, being India, if that's true, they're bringing that that behavior here to Canada where it's unacceptable. So, because it becomes then a cultural or could be seen as a race thing, it's not, they're not speaking about it, right?
Yeah. Well,
So, not in those terms.
20 years ago, racial thing was not as blatant as it is today. If it would be a thing, we would have probably heard of that long time ago. So it's probably, I don't know, it's a new thing. Is that new ways, new cultural kind of thing? I don't know. It's kind of weird.
People are talking about it online, though. Here,
Mm-hmm.
we'll bring up a few of these TikTok, Twitter, X posts. Let's hear what the people have to say about this. We'll just pick some randomly.
Let me start off by saying that over my dead body, would I go to a different fucking country, not read the rules, and take a shit on the public beach? And if I did,
Sorry about the
I
language.
fully intend for them to shame the fuck out of me. Why? Because that's what I get for going to a different country and not reading up the rules and giving people E. coli poisoning. I don't think you guys understand what E. coli does to your body, okay? Be so fucking for real right now. This has, first of all, the Indians that are here, prior to mass immigration, the Indians that have come over here, I never seen them taking a dump on the fucking beach. So I don't think this is about race. I think this is about massively irresponsible immigration just coming to fruition in one of the ways. And that is people getting E. coli infections because they're taking dumps on our beaches.
Mm-hmm. She made some good point, I think.
Wow. I mean, I always pick up after my dog.
But no, I mean, it shouldn't be a thing. I mean, for me, I wouldn't go to the beach to do my little thing, right? I would go to a bathroom or public space where there's a bathroom.
This is not a racism thing, man. This is just reality. Okay, I'm going to show you a picture here right now. Again, viewer discretion is advised. All right? This is not me making this up. That's people doing their thing. Right there on the beach. Not even in a tent. Enough of that.
Well.
Okay, here's another comment on this issue. Somebody else talking about it. Here we go. And roll them.
So I'm tired of people saying that the people pooping on the beach, like that's what they do back home. We are not back home. We are in Canada. As a local, I refuse to let my kids dig in the sand on beach 1. And you guys are saying all the tents are gone. No, they're not. No, they're fucking not. The beach is full of tents. Full. And this is not including in the side areas of the beach. There is little treed areas there that is like mini forest, but it's cleared. So people can put up camp there. That is where they're still 100% doing it. And they are still 100% doing it on the beach, but more discreetly. It is still happening. This is nothing that's going to change. People with that mentality will not change it. So people need to stop arguing with me and acting like this isn't happening. This is not just 3 years ago. This is today. This is this week. This is still happening. The tents are still up. The people are still coming. So I'm tired of...
It's disgusting. And to be on her point, right? I would go to any other country. The best thing I would do is probably get familiar with the customs of that place and respect their custom kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
But these people come around here and probably not looking at our custom, which is go do your thing in the bathroom, which is, well, it's not racist, it's just common sense.
They literally have to put signs up for this? Wow. Wow. Okay.
2,500 euro.
Unbelievable.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we're in 2024, guys. I didn't know. I mean, people like us would have to ask you, why would you do that?
Is that sign that I just showed you, is that real?
I don't know.
I don't know. Is that just somebody who made that up as a meme? I don't know.
But if it is a true thing,
hang on a second here. I've got to. You go ahead and talk, Drag.
All right. But I mean, if this thing is a true thing that we have seen on the screen, the 2,500 fine for defecating on the beach is true. I would say that, well, we are in 2024. How can I more agree with people that who's trying to tell people not to do that on the middle of a beach? It's
John Scotty's on the line. Go ahead, John. What's up?
Hey guys, Maverick News family worldwide around the world. Greetings, Dragon, Rick.
What's up,
just
John?
a comment on what you're talking about on Wasaga Beach. This has been going on in Morrisburg, Ontario, which is 1 hour south of Ottawa, for like over 2 years now, on the public beaches, marinas. My friend Volker Gretschner from the Lutheran Church, the entire Williamsburg area, it's been a problem. And it's not something nice, gentlemen, to talk about. It's become a real major problem. And the property owners in Morrisburg, Ontario, Winchester County, South Dundas, are really offended by it. And I'm not pointing any fingers at anybody, but it has been going on. Morrisburg, Ontario is a beautiful beach. It's an hour south of Ottawa on the St. Lawrence River. You know, beautiful public parks, benches, a marina, the whole bit. And a lot of people, no disrespect to anybody, because I'm not naming anybody, but no disrespect to anybody, but the public beaches down there in the marina, they're paid for by the residents of the area that pay property taxes, and people come in over the weekends, long weekends, Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, and I'm not going to point fingers at anybody, but they leave, they roll in for free, set tents up, they party all weekend, they leave garbage everywhere, and the local residents end up having to pick it up, and it got clamped down, guys, like couple of years ago. This is not something new to me, because my buddy from the area, the Lutheran Church, Catholic, Anglican, United, they all talk about it. And you're welcome. Hey guys, here's the bottom line, common sense. You're welcome to go anywhere in Ontario, Quebec, Alberta, anywhere. Be respectful, have some family values, come in for the weekend, whatever, clean your garbage up. Make sure your campfire is out, especially in Jasper, Alberta. Don't throw cigarettes out of your vehicle. Rick, Dragon, it all comes back, gentlemen, to being gentlemen and ladies and families and being respectful. Like, am I out of line saying that, gentlemen?
No. I don't care who you are, where you come from. You don't do that on a public beach. If I had my dog out at the beach, I would absolutely clean up after him. I do when I take him around the block. That's what you do. Like, that's a dog. Human beings should just know enough to go use the proper facilities.
Well, Mr. Sir Rick and Sir Dragon, you make a really good point, Rick. I'm a dog owner, okay? My family has been forever. Our dogs are house dogs, farm dogs, whatever. You know, if your dog has a poopy, whatever, you clean it up. You take responsibility for your child, your animal. You clean it up. It can be a cat too. If you're a cigarette smoker, don't snub your cigarette out in front of me at the bus stop. And no. If you're a responsible cigarette owner, put your butt of your cigarette out and put it in a proper ashtray. Gentlemen, to me, it all comes back to being respectful, common values, family values. And look, gentlemen, if we went to another country, if you went to Mexico, Europe, anywhere, would you not be respectful of where you're going? You wouldn't do that anywhere. To me, it comes back to family values and respecting the community. But I think we're a little lacking on that, gentlemen. Am I out of line saying that?
No, actually,
no, I don't think so. I don't think so,
can
John.
I make a statement?
Go ahead,
I'm a weed
Dragon.
smoker sometimes, sometimes I smoke on my way out when I do some stuff around, right? I always bring that little cases here, and even when I'm done with whatever I'm smoking, right? I take the roaches inside that thing and I bring that home. I mean, I don't, throw my roaches around and my maggots around here and there, right? I mean, I'm a gentleman at least, even if I sometimes do a 420 on the outside.
Any final thoughts there, John?
Well, gentlemen, Dragon, love from Alberta, my friend. Rick, Maverick News family worldwide. Rick, do we not have any common family values left anymore? Any common courtesy, respect? Be a friend, be a neighbor, clean up after yourself. I don't know. I kind of shake my head. And, look, this is going on with it, Rick. It takes one dog owner to have a poopy in a park or the street, and they don't clean it up. And you know what it does? It ruins it for the 99.99% of responsible dog owners. And you can be a dog owner, a cat owner. It's the same thing. When you come to a public beach, a rest area, I don't care if you're in Quebec, Newfoundland, PEI, Alberta, British Columbia, Ontario, please be respectful. And race, creed, color, it has nothing whatsoever to do with it. It's all about being respectful, being clean, and being respectful to Here's the other thing, Rick, people forget about. A lot of these communities, Rick, in Quebec, Ontario, PEI, Alberta, BC, we're hosting, these are rest stops. We're hosting people that come in to a community, and that's owned by property owners that pay taxes. And they don't want to come in and clean garbage up. And I know my friends in Morrisburg, Ontario, not to single them out, but this was going on long before the Rebel News sort of Wasaga Beach thing. And it just comes down to basic human respect, family values, and be a neighbor, be a good guy, a good girl, and let's all participate in enjoying our provinces, but let's be respectful. Let's be respectful.
Totally agree.
All right. Well, thank you, John. Appreciate the call, sir.
Thank you, gentlemen. I'm sorry I'm a little outspoken from Alberta.
Okay. Have a good night. Talk to you
Cheers.
soon.
Bye-bye. God bless you.
Love you, John.
Well, yeah. Well, as I say, it's multiple media outlets reporting it, but it's how it's being reported that is, that varies, let's say. And this is one of the reasons I left the mainstream media, because of the kind of, I would say, censorship that is being exercised over there right now, as I've just stated, because they're not telling you who it is that's doing it, and it seems to be an identifiable group, that being apparently Indians. And I mean, not native or indigenous Indians. I'm talking about Indians from India, because of the culture that they're bringing here. They apparently don't understand that we have a different community standard on that issue.
Right.
So
Kind of sad, eh?
well, we're gonna have to fix that somehow. The it's been 51 days since that Boeing Starliner spacecraft launched and went up to the space station, and they've had some technical problems. And now Butch Wilmore and Sunny Williams, the two astronauts aboard that Boeing spacecraft, they're still stranded up there. 51 days they've been gone, and they have an engine problem. I guess they're trying to resolve that or come up with a solution to the problem. And they've been testing engines on Earth, trying to figure things out. It could be, they say it's going to be at least sometime in August now before they are allowed to come home, because they've just got mechanical problems. It's like, it's not just Houston, it's the Starliner crew that has a problem. 51 days now.
Wow.
Facing an indefinite stay in space. How would you like to get up into outer space and then have them say, well, you might not be able to come home?
I feel probably afraid right now.
Yeah, Boeing is coming out, though, and saying, oh, no, they're not stranded. Yeah, they are. They're stranded, at least temporarily.
Boeing, is that the company of airplanes that their door keeps opening while you're in flight?
That would be the company. This is like a public relations
It's like me,
disaster.
a rocket scientist as I am, saying, no, they're good, all good. We can find a solution for them. No trouble. Press the like button, guys.
Yeah. So the moral of the story is, don't fly into space on Boeing. Whoa. You'd think that a company like Boeing would be able to get it back, but just get it right rather, but nope.
Well, look, not Rebel News, sorry. Redacted has done some research and has come up with some guys from, Boeing saying that I wouldn't even, workers from Boeing company assembling planes together, right? Assembler goes like, I wouldn't even take a plane on Boeing to go to somewhere. I mean, not that I always believe everything that Redacted tell me. Sometimes I take
really?
I do.
Really?
But
wow.
This part, I would probably believe that those people, they probably know what they're talking
UFO
about.
Central News, you don't believe everything they talk about?
Always. But I mean, they do some good points once in a while, sometimes stretch,
yeah.
But you got to, go in the middle and not take everything that they tell you and shove it down your throat like all truth.
Well, let's stick with some real news, and we'll come back in a few moments, and we'll hopefully be going to the Trump rally. So don't go away.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, we're back. Trump's still not on stage. Still waiting. So let me just let me run another little quick promo here, and let me get something else queued up for you. Hang on. I gotta go right here.
He's a fighter. He's a survivor. President Trump, defiant, strong. He is determined to make America great again. Pay tribute to the 45th President of the United States with this collectible t-shirt from the Maverick News Memorable Moments collection. Even a would-be assassin's bullet could not stop him. Instead, he emerged with his fist in the air ready to fight. For freedom. Get your Trump Fighting for Freedom t-shirt with any donation of $30 or more to Maverick News. There are 2 iconic artistic designs to choose from. But there is only one way to get these. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Support free speech. Free media. Support Maverick News. Call 1-866-248-1490 or order online at supergeeks.tv.
Okay, there was this clip which was, it's perplexing. I don't know exactly what he means by this, but Trump was speaking at the Turning Point USA event, and he was speaking to Christians, saying, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore because we're going to fix it. What the heck does that mean? Let's run the clip, and then I want your comment on it. Okay, hang on. Here we go. It just sounds weird.
And again, Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not going to have to vote. And again,
what does he mean?
Hard to tell, but if I would analyze the speech, he said you wouldn't have to do it for the next 4 years. Does it say that, he's kind of trying to get a sort of a lifetime presidency? I don't know. I don't think. But is that what you thought?
Well, I don't think that's what he meant. I think his political opponents will use it to suggest to people that that's what he meant and that he's a dictator. He's a wannabe dictator. That's what I think they're going to do with it.
We got to listen well to what he says. He's probably has misspoken, like I do most of the time, sometimes, but he's probably has misspoken by saying you ain't gonna have to do it anymore in 4 years. Well, in 4 years, you're gonna have to revote for sure. But yeah, what does it imply? That's a good question.
Yeah, 1 minute. Ours says, did you not see the size of the door that blew off 4x6? What is he talking about? The airplane door that flew off?
Yeah, please tell me what you're referring to. I would like to.
Yeah, I know that they had the panel, the door that flew off the one plane.
I think it's not just one time. It happened twice, I think. One 3 months ago, sometime like that. In another
the door
one
was missing bolts
last month.
from improper maintenance. Yeah. Okay.
But let's put it this way. Trump is also inviting Christian to vote. Does it imply that Christians don't vote normally? I don't know.
Okay, folks, Trump on stage now. Let's head on over to Minnesota.
Before we begin, I want to condemn the evil attack on Israel that took place earlier today. A missile launched by Hezbollah killed at least a dozen children, young children. And they were playing, as you heard, on a soccer field in Israeli territory on the Golan Heights, a place that I recognized during my administration as under Israel's sovereignty. It was a big thing. I've been trying to get it done for 72 years. I got it done in about 1 hour. The savage Hezbollah terrorists struck these children with an Iranian precision missile. Dozens more were wounded in the attack, and sadly, the death toll is probably going to go very substantially higher. Our hearts go out to the families of these innocent children. No parent should have to suffer the terrible loss of a child at the hands of terrorists or anybody else. Today's attack on Israel cannot be forgotten, and it will go down as another of the Ukraine-Russia war. Think of it.
Feed is freezing up.
Nor would country-busting inflation. You know, inflation is destroying our country. None of it would have happened. It would have never happened if we were president. It wouldn't have happened. It's a dangerous and terrible.
Sorry about the feed.
She's terrible. She's worse than he is, I'll tell you right now. I want to be nice. They all
See if I can fix this.
say, I think he's changed. I think he's changed. Country. And that's the thing.
Let me switch the feed here for you. Got a better feed.
Have you heard of him? He was badly beaten, and everybody went to him and said, Joe, you can't win, you can't win. He said, no, let me debate him. Let me debate him, please. That didn't work out too well either. That was the end. The debate was the end. You can't beat him, Joe. Now we just beat you, Joe. You're going to lose. You got to get out. We want to get out. You got to get out, Joe. There was nothing nice about what they were doing. It wasn't democracy, was it? It wasn't democracy. They were saying, we want you out of the race, Joe, and we want you out here. You're going to lose. These are quotes from some of the fake news. Look at all the fake news back there. Wow. That's a lot of fake news. Man. That's a lot of fake news, Mike. Joe, you're going to lose. We want to put somebody else in. And then I realized last night I was speaking to a great group of people, Christians, all Christians, and they've been horribly treated by this administration. Today I spoke to Bitcoin crypto. So I went from Christians to Bitcoin, and now I'm with you in Minnesota. We cover a lot of territory. Think of that. So Christians to Bitcoin to Minnesota. We cover a lot of territory. And I never mess it up by saying, let me tell you about Bitcoin. I don't do that, no. Remember Biden, of course, I don't want to talk too much about him, but when he was in Iowa, and he said, it's great to be in Idaho. No, if I ever did that once, it would be the end. They'd say that's the end. He's cognitively impaired. That would be the end. The fake news would go crazy. But I thought last night, as I was speaking to this incredible group of evangelicals and a lot of others of faith, it's, well, you like that, don't you, huh? Yeah. Wow. That means our country's coming a long way because you put faith back, you put religion back into our country, it's going to be a much better place. I'll tell you that. But I thought last night, I said, you know, it's sort of unfair. You have a guy, he says he's great, he's president and all that stuff. They rigged the election, but we won't talk about that. And they say he's president. So he comes out, and he comes out raring to go, and he gets badly beaten. He's losing, and all of a sudden he's like a fighter. He's losing. Then they took him out of the fight, and they put a new fighter. We have a new victim now, Kamala. We have a new victim. We have a brand new victim. And honestly, she's a radical left lunatic. And she is, when you find out about her, all I have to say is defund the police. That was her big thing. Let's defund the police. And as I often say, you know, politicians don't change. Whatever they say first, that's where they are. They don't change. Wouldn't you say that, Tom? Whatever they say, if they said 5 years ago, 8 years ago, defund the police, she said it like 2 years ago or 3 years ago. But so if that's what they say, that's ultimately where they want to go. But this was really a coup of, and by the Democrats, this was a coup of a man that had 14 million votes. He wanted to run. They wouldn't let him run. They treated him horribly. They said to him, we can do it the nice way or we can do it the hard way. To Joe, he's president. This was a coup of the presidency. They threatened him with the 25th Amendment. They said, Joe, we're going to threaten you with a thing called the 25th Amendment. You're cognitively and physically a mess. And if you don't get out, we're going to take you out with the 25th Amendment. And he said, I'll go. And then the fake news said, oh, he was so brave. He was so brave. No, he was forced to leave. So now we have a new candidate to defeat the most incompetent, unpopular, and far-left vice president in American history, probably the most far-left person in American history. Less than 4 months from now, Minnesota is going to defeat Kamala Harris. And remember what I said a short time ago. A short time ago, she strongly fought for many, many bad things. But to me, I love the police. We're not defunding them. We're going to fund them. Fund them. We're going to overfund them. She's just thinking. She's defund the police, and I'm overfund the police. We're going to overfund. We're going to evict this radical and incompetent administration from the White House, and together we are going to make America great again. With your vote this election, inflation will stop, the illegal aliens will be turned back, the cartels will be in retreat, crime will fall, energy prices will plummet, incomes will soar, and a world in chaos will rapidly be transformed into a planet of peace. And very importantly, and you don't hear this anymore, the words you don't hear under the Trump administration, the American dream will come roaring back bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. The American dream will come back, right? But if a crazy liberal, and she's beyond liberal, look, she was a failure at every stop. She was a failed vice president. She was a horrible district attorney. She destroyed San Francisco. She was a liberal she was there before all the guys that you're currently reading about, right? If a crazy liberal like Kamala Harris gets in, the American dream is dead. I believe it's dead. I believe it's dead. Over the past 3.5 years, Border Czar Harris, which is what she called herself, even the New York Times today, They took an article out of the New York Times, borders are. Now, you know, they're deleting everything that says, these people back there are deleting everything. But we already have it. You know, 3 months ago, she was thought of so
I
bad.
need to flip the feed here again. Just give me a moment. Just gotta flip from that to this. And here we go.
I don't think so. It's not going to happen. Margaret Thatcher didn't laugh like that, did she? Did she laugh? If she did, she wouldn't have been Margaret Thatcher. It's very simple, right? Border Czar Harris allowed almost 20 million illegal aliens to stampede into our country. If she gets another 4 years, it'll be 40 to 50 million more people in our country, and they'll be using Medicare and Social Security. They will be gone. They'll be wiped out. They'll be destroyed. There won't be a thing your government can do about it. She will kill Social Security and Medicare. As Vice President, Kamala Harris cast the tie-breaking votes that created the worst inflation in half a century. I believe the worst inflation that we've ever had. You know, they don't use the real numbers. They don't use the numbers that are really, really bad, but they're bad enough to have the worst just about that anybody can ever even think of or remember, decimating working families. And if she wins, inflation will only get worse. It's going to get worse. Already energy and gasoline are going up. You see what's happening? More and more per gallon. We had it down to $1.87. We actually had it lower than that for a period of time. A Kamala Harris presidency means 4 more years of extremism, weakness, failure, chaos, and probably World War III. I really believe it. They have no, that's why this happened today in Israel. Shocking that it happened out of nowhere. A Trump victory will bring back leadership, competence, common sense, and strength to the Oval Office. That's what we had. We had no wars. We had no wars. Think of it. We had no wars. Remember when crooked Hillary Clinton used to say, he's going to get us into a war. Look at him. Look at his rhetoric. I said, no, my rhetoric's going to keep us out of wars. That's what happened. We had no wars. They didn't think about it. Putin would have never got in. Iran was broke. I told China, if you buy 1 barrel of oil from Iran, you're not doing any more business in the United States. And they didn't buy any. They didn't buy any. And we would have had to deal with Iran within 1 week after the election if the election didn't take that horrible turn. You know, we got millions more votes the second time than we did the first. The New York Times asked me, what happened the second time? I said, the second time we got like 10 million more votes, right? Oh, I never thought of that. The reporter said, oh, yeah, you're right, actually. Let's go to another question. But let's review Kamala's insanely liberal record. As a senator, she was ranked the #1 most radical left Democrat in the entire Senate. They say she made Bernie Sanders look like a moderate. He was unhappy with that today, did you see? He said, oh, no, I think I might have been more liberal than her. They were fighting over who's more liberal. If this country has a liberal president, this country is finished, okay, just so you know. And she's weak liberal. Just a few years ago, Kamala Harris co-sponsored Bernie Sanders $32 trillion. You know what that means? That means file for bankruptcy as you're signing the legislation. Everything is gone. Your taxes will go up by 4 or 5 times, and it still won't be nearly enough. $32 trillion socialist takeover of the entire U.S. healthcare system. She endorsed outlawing private health insurance entirely. Many people have private health insurance. It's phenomenal. If they work hard and they make a little money, they want to have great health insurance. She wanted it outlawed. She supported giving free taxpayer-funded health care to all illegal aliens. Come on in. Come on in. Now, but just think of it. Everybody that comes into our country, including from prisons, mental institutions, insane asylums, you know, they go crazy when I mention Dr. Hannibal Lecter. You know who that was? They say, why does he keep mentioning Hannibal Lecter? Well, you see, he was a slightly
troubled patient in an insane asylum, and he'd love to have you for dinner, you right there. He'd love to have you for dinner. But I mention him because we have people like that coming into our country. They're closing their insane asylums all over the world. They're sending their criminals into the United States. Venezuelan crime is down 72% because they're sending their criminals and their drug dealers and their prisoners to the United States. And next year, I think, instead of being here, which is a great place, I love this place, we'll go to Venezuela or someplace in South America where they've sent all their criminals to us, because we'll have a nice, safe event. We can go to Venezuela next year where the crime drops 72%, and we're going to have a nice, safe event, because in Minnesota, you will have lots of people that you don't have now, although many of them are here now. They're just sort of getting used to it. You'll have people from their jails and from their mental institutions in Minnesota. So we'll go to a nice, safe location. She co-sponsored the $100 trillion Green New scam to abolish oil, coal, and natural gas. She pledged to ban fracking. No fracking. Oh, that's going to do well in Pennsylvania, isn't it? Remember Pennsylvania, I said it. She wants no fracking. She's on tape. The beautiful thing about modern technology is when you say something, you're screwed if it's bad. If you say it wrong, you're screwed. She said, I never said about fracking. Then we play about 90 tapes, you know. There will be no fracking. We will defund the police, she says. I have to be very careful when I say that, because if I say we will defund the police, imitating her, they'll put me on television tonight saying Donald Trump wants to defund the police, right? Got to be very careful, Tom. Sarcasm doesn't work when you have a crooked press. You know, when I imitated him, because Biden, and I don't want to waste a lot of time, because it's over now, right? He's gone. I told you he would be. I told you he wasn't going to make it. I told you. In the debate, and they called for the debate. They wanted it early. I said, okay, I accepted every rule. Everyone said, why did you do that? I mean, you accepted CNN, you accepted fake Tapper, you accepted all of these things. Why did you do that? So I said, because it's the only way, because they thought I wouldn't do it. So I said yes, and they were shocked. But we had the debate, right? And he kept saying, like, they'd say Jake Tapper, fake Tapper. But I have to tell you, they were very fair. In my opinion, they were very fair. 95%. You can't ask for, I was shocked. They gained a whole level of respect. I really mean it. CNN, and both of them, they gained a level of respect, right? Don't you think so? I do. I told them that. I called them both up. But I never saw a debate like this. So, you know, we're given a certain period of time, and I'm running. I got to talk very fast because there's so many things to say. My mind is rushing. Boom, and I hit it right on the butt. But they kept saying to him, sir, you have 92 seconds left. What? You have 92 seconds left. And I said, I'll take it. They said, no, you're not allowed to. You have 92 seconds. And he was like, oh, next question. So you have 38 seconds remaining. What? Oh. So we got off to a good start. But from the time of the debate, that was the beginning of the end. The debate was not good. And then he tried to recoup by going and doing some interviews with really nice people that actually wanted to help him along. But they can't answer the question for him. So it wasn't a good situation. And now we have somebody that's, I believe, worse than him. I really do. Kamala called for slashing consumption of red meat to fight climate change. Now, you know what that means? Because in a couple of countries, they're actually getting rid of their cows and their cattle. They want to get rid of their cattle because they say it's environmentally unacceptable. So that'll be next. They're going to be coming to you, Tom. Please go to the legislature and get rid of all cows, all cattle. Horses will be next. And at some point, I guess they'll go after the human also, won't they? It's crazy. It's crazy. The humans are next. No, she's terrible. She's terrible. I mean, she's as bad as you get. She supported mandatory gun confiscation, ripping firearms away from law-abiding citizens, and she said that a 80% tax rate
is a bold idea that should be discussed. It's very interesting, too. I think that's nice. How about 80%? Kamala is also a total radical on abortion. Should we talk about abortion? Do you mind for a second, right? When you compare my position on abortion to that of Kamala Harris, my position is actually, it just polled, 8 points higher, and that's because she's a radical. She's an absolute radical on abortion. She wants abortion in the 8th and 9th month of pregnancy. Think of that. And right up until birth and even after birth. The governor of Virginia, the ex-governor, we have a great governor of Virginia right now, but the governor that preceded Glenn is, he was horrible. I call him Michael Jackson, remember? Remember his wife stopped him from doing a moonwalk? Oh, that was a good thing because nobody could moonwalk like Michael. He wanted to moonwalk to show that would not have been good, but he blew it anyway. But he said, we put the baby aside. If the baby's born, we put the baby aside, and we discuss with the mother whether or not we terminate the baby's life. This is after. This is an abortion. This is called killing. This is called a word beyond abortion. This is called execution. Kamala supports taxpayer funds to pay for abortion for any reason. She even voted against legislation that would require medical providers to give care to babies born alive after an attempted abortion. They're the radical ones. You see, the Democrats really, and not all of them, because most of them agree with us, they're the radical ones, whereas our position is that abortion is now back to the states. They've wanted to have this. This has been going on for 52 years, the way everybody and all legal scholars, they always said this is the way it should be. Everybody wanted it back in the states. Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservatives, and legal scholars. Every legal scholar wanted it back in the states. And then about 14 years ago, people started talking about the number of weeks, the number of months, the number of this, that. They wanted it back in the states where people can decide, and that's what's happening. You look at Ohio, they decided. You look at Kansas, they decided. You look at a lot of different states, they decided. And sometimes it comes out the way certain people want it. Sometimes it didn't. Ohio came out with somewhat of a liberal interpretation, and so did Kansas, which was a little surprising, but it's the vote of the people. Like Ronald Reagan, I believe in exceptions for the life of the mother, rape, and incest. And I also believe that you have to follow your heart. But you also have to get elected. You have to remember that. We have to get elected. And I want to thank the 6 Supreme Court justices, Clarence Thomas, Samuel Alito, John Roberts, Brett Kavanaugh, Neil Gorsuch, and Amy Coney Barrett for the wisdom and courage they showed on this long-term, very contentious issue. But getting it back to the states puts the question where it belongs with the vote of the people, and it's over time, and you'll see this. Over time, it's going to work out incredibly well, and just an issue that was tearing our country apart for years and years is coming to an end, and people are coming together. It's going to be the vote of the people, and it's a state vote. It's the way it was supposed to be. It should have never been in the federal government. So, thank you. I think it's so important to say. I think it's so important to talk about. This November, the American people are going to reject Kamala Harris's crazy liberal extremism on a massive landslide. We're going to have a landslide because it's going to be too big to rig. You know what too big to rig is? We're not going to let her turn the United States into communist San Francisco. You know, 15 years ago, San Francisco was perhaps the greatest city in the country. And now it's unlivable. It's unlivable. The crime is so bad. The drugs are so bad. She has ruined it. She was the original of the bad DAs. She was the original of the bad prosecutors. She blew them all away. There are a lot of people that say she destroyed San Francisco. She will destroy our country. She will destroy. And moderate, you know what? We can maybe live with moderate, but we have to bring our country back. We've gone down a long way. Remember this,
Out of the 20 million people, and probably much more than that, that came in, so many, they have to be taken out. We're going to have the largest deportation effort in the history of our country. The criminals, we have to get them out immediately. Every voter in Minnesota needs to know that when the violent mobs of anarchists and looters and Marxists came to burn down Minneapolis 4 years ago, remember me? I couldn't get your governor to act. He's supposed to call in the National Guard or the Army, and he didn't do it. I couldn't get your governor. So I sent in the National Guard to save Minneapolis while Kamala Harris sided with the arsonists and rioters and raised money to bail out the criminals, bail them all out of jail. Remember? I kept waiting for his call. You remember the guy from CNN, the reporter, so-called? I won't use his name. I don't want to embarrass. Shaved head. Nice-looking head, actually, shaved. And he goes, this is a friendly demonstration. And behind him, the entire city was burning. Remember, it was like a war zone. The entire city was burning down. And as he was speaking, somebody threw like a hand grenade at his feet and broke his knee. This is a friendly rally. No, you know what's a friendly rally? This is a friendly rally.
Hey, Dragon, do you think he will deport people?
Well, I think, to be quite honest, I think he's going to try to be on his word on this one. But
by the way,
as you
I feel
said,
so bad. There are
only illegal
25,000 people outside that cannot. If you people all go and vote, now, look. There's no way we lose this. There's no way we should lose this state. The other day, Kamala had 972 people, we counted it. They said it was 2,000, and that's okay. But they said she had a massive crowd of 2,000 people. It wasn't, it was under 1,000. But this, they never talk about this. They don't. Take a look at that. That's great camera work. It must, I know it's not a news camera because they don't do that. Even the ones that are on our side. They don't show the crowd size. I love crowd size. We've always had the biggest crowds. In history, there's never been anything like this. So you had to see, we drove from the airport to here, and practically the whole way, there were just thousands and thousands of people. It's incredible.
He does pack him in. He seems to have the momentum on his side again.
If they don't cheat, we win this state easily, okay? They cheat. They have no shame. They cheat. Do you understand that, you crooked people? They're the most crooked. They cheat. They cheated in the last election, and they're going to cheat in this election, but we're going to get them. They used COVID to cheat. And this time they'll try and find something, but we think we have them blocked. They have no shame whatsoever. You know, the amazing thing is the press, when they write about this rally tomorrow, they'll say, President Trump was here. He had a small smattering of people. A small, delicate crowd of a few people. Sometimes they'll say a few hundred people. They never talk about it, and they never show the crowd.
no matter, look at the corner. See the corner of the room? Turn your camera right up in that corner. See that corner? See that corner up there? See that corner up there? See that corner? Look at that. Look at him. Look at that guy. He's going crazy up there. He loves it. He's going crazy. He's got the worst seat in the house, and he's got more attention than anybody. Look at him.
He's galvanizing.
But those cameras
crowd,
will never
man.
turn, will they?
That
huh?
is a big
See, I'm watching
crowd.
the cameras. They're not turning because they don't want to turn, because they don't want to show what's happening. This is the greatest movement in the history of our country. And if we don't win this election, our country is finished.
Everyone who knows WWE will say that this is how you galvanize your auditory.
You know,
on
I used to
the
plead
arena.
with the fake news, but now I learned it's not worth it. But I plead, show the crowd, please show the crowd. You know, I'd say show the crowd. And they'd keep that camera blaring right on my face. They'd show it as tight as possible, as tight as you can. And I'd say, you gotta show the crowd, you gotta show it. And I actually thought in 2015 and 2016 when I started, because we had these crowds from the beginning, I have to say now they're bigger and better and stronger, I think, than ever before. Bigger and better. Look at that. That's, when I say the corner, you know the place is packed if those seats are gone. But I love that one guy up there. He's going crazy. We've made him a star. But I used to say, turn the camera, turn it. I went through, and I never understood, because it's actually good for them. It shows that people are watching something. So I figured it would be easy. Even the bad ones, they should do it. They should show the kind of crowd size. And they wouldn't do it. Even the friendly ones, I won't mention names, okay? But you know who I'm talking about. Friendly, they would never show the crowd. And then I realized what it must be. It's a metal object, and I figured they couldn't turn the camera because it's on steel tripods, and I figured it's very rigid. And then one night in late 2015, just prior to 2016, there was a terrible fight, like over there in the corner, where the only way a camera could get the fight would be to do a triple tripod loop, swirl underneath the people's legs. And that camera, I've never seen any piece of steel bend so much. It was like, they got every second of that fight. I said, you mean the cameras do turn very well? And they do. That was when I learned it's fake news, it's just fake news. But they won't show this crowd, they won't show them. But more impressive than this crowd is honestly the people outside. You have thousands and thousands of people. So we love them, we love them. We love them. We do. We love you. We love you all. How good is this place? What a state. I think I should move here. No, but we have a lot of states. They're all, look, they all see what's happening to our country. They're all incredible. We always have packed houses, to put it mildly, like this. I mean, the spirit has never, ever been like this. We did great in 2016. We did better in 2020. There's never been spirit like this, Tom. I don't think we've ever had, Pete, never had spirit like this. Great hockey player, by the way. Great hockey player. Pop, great hockey player. We've never had spirit like this, so we have to do, we're going to turn it around fast. We'll turn this thing around real fast. You're going to be so happy. Kamala urged her followers to donate to the so-called Minnesota Freedom Fund, helping raise $35 million To set loose violent offenders after they shot at police, looted your stores, sexually assaulted innocent victims, and committed all sorts of other heinous crimes. One of the criminals Kamala helped bail out of jail was Sean Michael Tillman, very famous now, unfortunately, a repeat offender who, with Harris's help, was set free. She set free many very bad people. And then he went on a murder rampage. He killed a man on a train platform in St. Paul, shooting him 6 times in the head. Okay? She just turned him free. Ultra-liberal Kamala Harris will deliver crime, chaos, mayhem, and death to our country. I will restore law and order, justice in America. With your vote, we will get the gang members, drug dealers, and dangerous criminals the hell out of our states. We'll get them off our streets. We'll put them behind bars. But what we're really going to do is send them back to the country from where they came. You know, a certain country in South America, and by the way, they're coming from all over the world. They're coming from the Congo. In Africa, 22 prisoners. Where do you come from? Congo. The good thing about these people is they make our criminals look like really nice people. It's true. Our criminals are now considered fine, upstanding people by comparison to these people. I told Dana White, UFC, do we love Dana White? How good was he at the convention? I said, Dana, I have a great idea. Take your great championship fighters from all over the world, you're champions right now, but start another league, called it an illegal migrant league. And then take the best of those fighters and let them fight. I believe the migrants will win. I think it's crazy. You know, I told that little sort of sarcastic joke. The press went crazy with it. He wants to start a migrant league. He wants to start a migrant league. I was going to tell you when I was up here 2 months ago, I imitated Biden because he can't find the stairs ever. The stairs, 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 stairs. 2 stairs. Get so many stairs. Get so many stairs. It's like too many stairs. I don't know what the hell they need them for. But they spend a lot of money. Government often will spend. Government has many more stairs than private. We put up like 1 stair. They put up like 12. But you always have a lot of stairs, so I'm imitating him, and I'm being funny, and I think I'm being so funny. And I had a tremendous crowd. We had 42,000 people, and I'm saying to the people, you know, when Biden gets off, do you ever notice? First of all, he doesn't make long speeches like that. Second of all, even though he can't read a teleprompter, he never goes off the teleprompter. It's a mess. It's a mess. And I was telling the people, I said, you know, do you ever watch when he's finished with his 2-minute speech? It never lasts more than 2, maybe 3 minutes. 3 is like a long speech. He goes, and he'll point at a stair. And then he'll walk. He'll point right at the stair, and then he won't be able to find the stair. This is what we have negotiating nuclear weapons with Putin, with Kim Jong-un, with President Xi of China. No, this isn't going to work out. Bad things are going to happen. But I called my wife. I said, who else could do it? Who else could do it? And 50,000 people. How great was my speech? How did I look? How great was I? It's on speech. I said, First Lady, how great did I look? She said, there was something wrong with your hair tonight. It looked terrible. She said, you were okay, but, you know, I have 50,000 people. Elvis didn't have 50, and he had a guitar. I had no guitar. I didn't have the use, right? Elvis had a guitar. He had a lot. We love Elvis, right? But he had a guitar. I don't have a guitar. So we'd have like 50, 60, 70. You know, we had 107,000 people in New Jersey, on the Jersey Shore. Wildwood, New Jersey, was beautiful. We had 25,000 people in the South Bronx, and it was like a love fest. It was like a love fest. 25,000 people. And I said to the First Lady, how great was I tonight? I didn't like your hair. I didn't like that. I said, who the hell else can get 52, 58, 79? We had 79,000 people in South Carolina. Who can get it, First Lady? And she didn't care about that. Then I called her finally. I called her how she said, you were great tonight. Oh, I said, that's great. Thank you very much. And I said, how else? I mean, was it really good? Yeah, but there was a problem. Why couldn't you find your way off the stage? They said you couldn't find. So these people, I was playing and having fun, imitating Joe Biden not being able to find the stairs. And they said that Trump couldn't find the stairs off the stage. So I have to be very careful. Tonight I'll have a very bad night because I haven't done that little routine in a long time because of that. You were good, but you know, it looked really bad at the end, darling. You couldn't find the stairs. What's wrong with you? Nah, I can find the stairs. I'll let you know when it's my time not to find the stairs. I'm going to know. And I'm going to call Tom Emmer. I'm going to say, Tom, it's about time for me to go. Okay, nobody's going to have to tell me. You know, I get up and I don't even read the teleprompters most of the time. So I'll do 80, 90% of the speech off teleprompter. And they'll say, he mispronounced a word. He mispronounced a word. They had a word the other day, crooked. I said cricket, you know. And rather than go back and I don't like to go back because going back means you made a mistake. You just blast through it. He didn't know how to pronounce the word crooked. I've been saying it for years about these crooked politicians that we're dealing with. So you can't even make a little bit of a flub. But even after the rioters did hundreds of millions of dollars worth of damage in Minnesota, Kamala Harris declared the so-called peaceful protests, quote, are not going to let up, and they should never let up. We should continue to go forward. In other words, those protests were good. She thought they were wonderful. This woman will be a disaster as our president. This woman shouldn't even be a shot. And you know what? They have many better people than her, but they never gave them the chance. Many better people. I know all of them. Some are very good. Kamala Harris was the original Marxist district attorney. She destroyed San Francisco, and she will destroy our country. She will be the worst president we've ever had. She will be worse than crooked Joe Biden. The only thing is she won't have Hunter, so I will have. Where's Hunter? Remember the sign we did? Where's Hunter? That became... Remember that one? I said, where's Hunter? The next day, my people are doing shirts. Where's Hunter? That was the big one. This one was good. Did you see I played golf with Bryson DeChambeau? Did anybody see it? Yeah. Played okay. Very good. Won a lot of club championships, and I'm playing with him. First of all, he's like 29 years old. He hits the ball a mile, but I hit it far also, and we played very good. And it was a break 50. Break 50, that means you have to get 13 birdies and 5 eagles. That's very tough. The par threes are actually make it the toughest, right, for those of you that are golfers. But I played with him. He said, I can't believe how good you are. No, I play good. So what happens, and I was, you know, I helped him a lot, but he does hit the ball like about 380. It helps. It helps when you can hit it 380. He's the longest hitter on tour. He just won the U.S. Open. He's a handsome guy. He's a great guy. Loves the people, loves the country. But that became the #1 trending thing because Joe Biden, who I watched him, I was always a nice athlete, a really good athlete, but I don't want to brag. So what happens? Joe Biden challenged me to a round of golf. He challenged me. And I can hit the crap out of the ball. I'm good. I shoot good scores. And when you win a club championship, that means you can play under pressure. You can ask a lot of the people up there, like Brett Baer. Brett Baer's a good golfer. Ask him, can Trump play? Ask a lot of the people. But can you imagine now, the whole thing with these people is they're con people. Misinformation. I challenge him to a round. I'll give him 3 strokes aside. He's going to give me strokes. So I say, I will give you $1 million if you can break. He said he was a 6, right? During the debate. And then immediately he said he was an 8. I said, that was quick. If we keep going like this, it'll be a 30 in about 2 minutes. I was a 6 handicap. I was an 8 handicap. I said, how the hell did that happen so fast, right? He's not a 6, he's not an 8, and he's not a 30. He cannot break 100. I know. I can look at somebody and I could look at their swing. He can't break 100, but I offered him $1 million. Now, as a 6 handicap, you can easily break 100. I said, I'll take you to any course you want, from the blue tees, which are, just moderate tees. I would give you $1 million if you can break 100. He decided to turn me down. He turned me down. Then I said, I'll give you 10 strokes aside. I'll give you 10 on the front, 10 on the back. I'll give you 20 strokes. I'll give you $1 million if you can beat me. He has no chance, okay? No chance. He didn't. But they talk a good game. It's all talk. It's good. It's all pilots come to the White House. I used to be a pilot. My uncle was eaten by cannibals, right? Even though the stories say, no, he went down in a crash. But my uncle, if the truck drivers come in, I used to drive a truck. It was a very big truck. These people, I'm telling you, they are so bad. They're so bad. They're just evil people. But more importantly, they're destroying our nation. Nobody respects them. Everybody laughs at them. We're like a bunch of fools. We have a man that can't put 2 sentences together, and now we're replacing him with worse than he is, a dangerous person who's not smart. She couldn't pass a law exam, right? Have you heard that? These are minor details. She couldn't pass a bar exam. She took the bar exam. She couldn't pass it. She thought she'd never be able to pass it. This is what we have wanting to be up. Other than that, she's a very fine woman. I'd like to make that statement. No, she's a radical left lunatic, and she's going to destroy our country, and we're not going to let her do it because we're going to win this election in a landslide. Right? You look at Kamala supports ending cash bail nationwide. No bail. If you kill somebody, that's okay. Come back whenever you're ready. We'll give you a little trial, put you in jail for about 2 days, which means releasing violent criminals immediately after arrest right onto the streets. She wants to abolish jail sentences for parole violators. She endorsed defunding the police, and she sponsored a bill to strip police officers of legal protection. She wants the police officers to go out and protect themselves and defend themselves and hire lawyers. You got to go hire a lawyer. These lawyers would take what they make in 1 year, they'll take it out of their hides. You can't do that. We're going to give immunity to police so they can do their job. I'm giving federal immunity to police officers so they can do their job. I think it's good. She wants to leave our communities at the mercy of deranged criminals and violent mobs. Unlike Kamala Harris, under my leadership, we will never defund the police, and we will give our heroes the protection, resources, and respect that they so dearly reserve. We're not going to take away their pensions. We're not going to take away their homes. We're not going to destroy their lives and their families' lives. We are joined today by an incredible woman who I just met, took a picture backstage, Shannon Owen, the widow of Pope County Deputy Josh Owen last year. Very handsome. Josh was on his 44th birthday, right on his birthday. He was out for a steak dinner with Shannon and his 10-year-old son when he got a call there was a problem, a domestic disturbance. A short time later, Shannon got the news that her husband was shot and killed in the line of duty. Shannon, we grieve for your loss, and we know how great a man he was. The police officers told me, told everybody else how great a man he was, and we are immeasurably grateful for your sacrifice. I would love to ask Shannon to come up for a moment. Shannon, can you do that? Shannon?
Thank you, everybody. Sorry you couldn't hear me that well earlier. I hope you can hear me now. I really appreciate you giving me a chance to talk about Josh. There's so many of them out there right now that need our help, though. We need to back the blue. And we need to say what Trump said and overfund the police. Thank you.
Thank you, Shannon. Incredible. Beautiful family that has to go through that. When I'm president, we will always stand with the men and women of law enforcement and their families, and we will have the backs of our police officers 100% of the time, and they will stop crime. As we secure our communities, we will also secure our border. On my very first day back in the White House, I will terminate every single open border policy of the Biden-Harris administration. And we will seal the border, and we will stop the horrible invasion into our country. It's an invasion. You know, I built hundreds of miles of border wall. If we didn't have that, but then when we left, we were going to add an extra 200 miles, actually much more than I said we were going to do, and close up certain sections that we had to be, for legal reasons, keep open for a little while. And they didn't want to do it. I said, wow, they don't want to do it. Does that mean that they actually want? Nobody thought they really wanted open borders. They talked about open borders, but nobody thought that could be possible. But they wanted open borders. We couldn't believe it. No person in American politics has been more of an open border zealot than borders are. Harris, this was an open border. She was talking about open borders for a long time before anybody was even listening. You have to see her tapes and her statements that she made a few years ago before this fell into her lap, I guess you could say. Very undemocratic. Kamala supported abolishing ICE, and these are incredible patriots. These are tough people that go into a pack of MS-13 gang members in Long Island, and you see the fists flying and everything flying. The MS-13, they killed two young girls, 16-year-old girls, walking to school, and they cut them up with a knife because they didn't want to use a gun because it's too fast. They cut them up, two beautiful young kids going to school. They cut them up. And MS-13 is probably the most violent of the gangs, although now we have some coming in that might make them look good. But what happened is ICE went in, saw them. These guys walked right into the middle, and they start swinging. 3 minutes goes up, and they're bringing these guys from MS-13 out there unconscious, bringing them out like this and putting them into a paddy wagon. And we took them out and brought them back to their country, or we put them in jail in some case. No, the ICE agents are great patriots. The Border Patrol are great patriots. But she was really something. She compared ICE agents to members of the KKK. She voted in favor of deadly sanctuary cities where you protect the criminals at all costs. She supports decriminalizing illegal border crossings, and she supports mass amnesty for all illegal aliens, even if they happen to be criminals from another country. Under border czar Harris, millions of migrants are pouring across our border. They are coming not just from South America. They're coming from Africa, Asia, the Middle East. They're coming from everywhere. And as I said before, they're coming from prisons and jails. There's a slight difference. Mental institutions, insane asylums, and terrorists at levels that we've never seen before. We have terrorists coming in at levels that we've never seen come in before. You know, the Border Patrol did a statement on terrorism and terrorists. They said in 2019, one of my 4 years, now I think they were wrong on this, but I'm going to tell you anyway, I love it. They said zero. They had zero. Is that right? I think, Paul? They had zero terrorists coming in the year 2019. Now, I think they were wrong because I don't know how that could be, but they had zero. Now they have thousands and thousands of the hardest, meanest terrorists coming in, and it's not going to end well. But we're going to go right to work, and we're going to get them the hell out of here. And you know who knows who they are? The local police. Our local police, they know their middle name. They know everything about them.
Meanwhile, our crime rate is going up while the crime statistics all over the world are plunging, because all over the world, unless they're run by very stupid people, they're taking their criminals and they're dumping them. We're like a dumping ground. They're dumping them into the United States. So Venezuela, crime is way down. The criminals are almost gone. The jails are half empty. The only difference, if I were running Venezuela, I would have had the jails 100% empty by now. I can't believe they're just going a little slower than we thought. Many countries right now, there's a certain country, I don't want to mention it because the head of the country, the president, South American country, but again, they're all over the world. He's getting great publicity that he's done a wonderful job on crime. He's done a wonderful, wonderful job. He's convinced everybody to live together, and I believed it. Like for 2 years, I'm reading about it. I go, oh, great story in the New York Times, great, 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 wonderful. Then I realized he's taking his criminals, he's dumping them into our country. But he's doing it differently than some of the others. In Venezuela, they brag about it. He liked to say that he did something with a social experiment. A criminal is a criminal, and they generally stay a criminal, and we don't have time to figure it out. But we're not going to take criminals, and we're going to get rid of the criminals that we've been given by all these countries from all over the world. Under borders are Harris. Our communities are being ravaged by migrant crime. Earlier this year, a 15-year-old girl in Massachusetts was raped by a migrant who Biden and Harris flew into the United States. How about that? We're stopping them at the border. We're fighting. The Border Patrol guys are stopping them like crazy, at great danger. And then we find out they have airplane flights over the border with thousands and thousands of people landing into the middle of our country. They're flying them then in airplanes into our country. So they don't want to stop them. They never will stop them. Nobody understands what good can come of it. Nobody understands why they want to have open borders, because there's nothing good. The only thing they can do is they are trying to register people to vote. That's the only thing we can say. These are not stupid people. Anybody that can cheat on elections like they cheat on elections, these are not stupid people. But you say, why would they want to have open borders and have criminals and mental patients coming into our country? The only thing is, and I'm seeing it more and more, they're fighting like hell. They want to register these people to vote, and we have got to stop it. We can't let them do it. That's the only thing. There's no other reason that they could want this. In upstate New York 2 months ago, another 15-year-old girl was attacked by an illegal alien they let in, assaulted with a metal pipe, abducted, driven to an isolated area, raped and killed. And in Texas last month, 12-year-old Jocelyn Lungari was tied up, sexually assaulted, and strangled to death by 2 illegal aliens who Biden and Harris released into the United States. They didn't want him to go out. They fought like hell to keep him here. They killed this beautiful young girl. Kamala Harris's deadly destruction of America's borders is completely and totally disqualifying for her to be president. You can't have a person like this as president. No person who deliberately releases these kinds of savage criminals to prey on our youth and our people, not just youth. Elderly people, too, are tremendous targets, should ever be trusted with power. Again, she has no clue. She has no clue. She's evil. The one job Kamala had was the border. That's the only job, and it was the biggest disaster in all of border history. And I'm not talking in this country. I'm talking all over the world. There's never been a border where people cross by the millions and millions. A third world country would stop it. Even if their people had to use sticks and stones, they'll use sticks and stones. Nobody's going to allow that to happen, what's happened to our country. We're pleased to be joined today by the current leader of the National Border Patrol Council, a great guy, Paul Perez. And I'm just going to ask Paul to come up to the stage for 1 minute. Paul, please.
So like I said earlier, I worked under 3 Democrats, 2 Republicans. Everybody talked tough on the border. Only one president actually backed it up. That was Donald J. Trump. Joe Biden doesn't care about the border. Border czar Harris doesn't care about the border. Do you guys remember the interview when they asked her if she was going to go to the border, and she laughed about it and said, well, I haven't been to Europe. There's nothing funny about border security. Tell that to the families that have lost loved ones, to the victims of illegal alien crime. President Trump is the only one that has stood with them. I've seen it with my own eyes. He's done it. He's strong on the border. Border czar Harris needs to go.
Thank you very much. Great people. There are people are. It's so much easier for them to just say, let's do nothing like they were told to do, but they can't do it. They love the country. Brandon Judd, your friend, they love the country, and they want to solve the problem. And by the way, I have a couple of people here, actually many people, Front Row Joes. I want to thank you very much, Front Row Joes. These guys, they've come to over 200 rallies. They were at a rough one 2 weeks ago. I know I saw him sitting up front with a whole group of a lot of Front Row Joes, right? That was a nasty one. That was one. We lost a great person, Corey, firefighter, great man, and two people really badly hurt, but they're okay. They're getting better. And I saw the whole group. They had like 40 of them, Front Row Joes. And I don't know where they get the money. They must be rich as hell, but they follow us all over the place. And we love you guys. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You know, the amazing thing about that night, and I don't talk about it. I told you during the convention, I said, I don't want to talk about it. But one thing that was so amazing, the people that were sitting behind us, we had thousands, tens of thousands of people, but they're mostly here. The people behind us, when this incident took place, nobody ran. And crowd control people will tell you when there's a shot fired, and people know a shot. It's much different sound than firecrackers and everything else. Much different. They know, especially the people that we're talking about from that section, they know a shot better than anybody. And a shot was heard, and then another, then another, then another. They saw I was in trouble. I went down, but I grabbed, I looked, I said, wow. But a shot was fired, and when you look at that tape, nobody ran. They saw I was in trouble. This is the most incredible movement. These are the most incredible people. They saw. They were right here. And it was a group similar to this, a little bit larger, twice the size. And those people, and there was one guy, I got to beat him. He was dressed in black. He had sort of a green floppy hat on. Not only didn't he run, and there were others that did this too. He stood up. Bullets are going, he's looking. Did you see it? Does everyone, I mean, you've seen this clip hundreds of times. People call up, they see it hundreds. They just, but look at that guy. He's not afraid. And then he's pointing. There he is. And the Secret Service sniper with one bullet, he did a great job. It would be nice if it would have been earlier. One bullet from a much further distance. And let me tell you, the Secret Service is taking a lot of heat, but I was under fire, and I was down, and I was here, and they came rushing, and there were bullets coming at us because it was whizzing over my head. And I don't know how they didn't get hit, but they had 7 or 8 guys that absolutely, you talk about bravery, they jumped on top of me, they shielded my body. I mean, to a point that was amazing. And we have to remember that too. We have to remember, they understand, they made some mistakes, but I'll tell you what, bravery was incredible because those bullets were flying, they were flying nasty. And it didn't stop them. You saw how fast they moved. They just moved and they jumped on me. I could show you an arm here. I said, these are strong people. But I'll tell you, they were very brave people. That was a very incredible thing. And fortunately, maybe it could have been a little bit earlier, but that sniper for Secret Service, he was a world-class shooter.
And from probably 400 yards, that's 4 football fields, because he was over there, quite a bit away. This guy was over here, 130 yards away. So you add it up and you double it or triple it. And one shot, boom. Because if that didn't happen, a lot of people would be gone right now. A lot of people. But there was great bravery displayed, and you have to hear that also. You have to hear that. There was no like, oh, let me get out of here. I want to resign immediately from Secret Service. No, there was incredible. Every one of them. There wasn't one that was slow. A woman who was on my right, she was shielding me, beautiful person. She was shielding me everything she could. And she got criticized by the fake news because she wasn't tall enough. Well, you know, she wasn't tall enough because I'm tall and she wasn't tall enough. And she was criticized. She was so brave. She was shielding me with everything. She wanted to take a bullet because the bullets were flying. Incredible. And every one of those guys. But the amazing thing is the people behind me, and you didn't see this because you don't see it, but we had a field as far as the eye could
What just happened there?
see, much more than what we have here. If you added every, it would be like, but even if I could see, nobody ran. And the crowd experts say when there's a shot fired, like in a soccer stadium, the whole place, they call it a stampede. They run for the gates. Nobody ran because they saw I was in trouble. And it's an amazing thing. I'm telling you, this is a movement the likes of which nobody has ever seen before. And I feel the same way about that. Right? Thank you. Those people are great. I just want them to know that. They're all sort of famous now, you know. But it's not, you don't see one person running off that platform. The women, a couple of them ducked, but they got up. They got up, everyone. There's not one person that ran, and some of these guys and some of the women, they stood up in the face of all that noise and all that scary stuff, and with all the blood that they were witnessing, they stood up and they were looking right, because they wanted to help Secret Service and they wanted to help the police. They wanted to find out who that guy was. So I just thank that whole crowd, but those people behind me and the people in front were the exact same thing. You just didn't get to see them. If Balthazar Harris stays in charge, every week we will bring a never-ending stream of illegal alien rapists, bloodthirsty killers, and child predators to go after our sons and daughters. That's what's going to happen. Nothing good is going to happen out of this. If I'm elected, we will immediately deputize the local police and form a massive dragnet to scour the nation for the monsters who are murdering and raping our children, and we will ship them out of our country immediately. And those countries will take them back. You know, under President Obama, they wouldn't take them back. They said, no, sir, we can't do it. They won't take them back. They put planes on the runways. I said, what do you mean planes? They put planes on the runways, so when we fill a plane full of MS-13, we're going to land in Guatemala or Honduras or El Salvador or some country. We can't land the plane. They have planes sitting on the runway. This has gone on for years, so I said, I want them all out of here. They said, we can't for that reason. They have the roads all clogged. I said, how much money do we pay them? Because we pay everybody money because we're so stupid. So the 3 countries, we paid about $750 million a year for economic development. I haven't seen too much economic development. So I tell them, I said, tell them they're delinquent, they're in violation of everything, and we're not paying them anymore. And they did. They said, we're not paying you anymore. And the next day, I got 3 calls from the presidents of those 3 countries. I won't tell you exactly which ones, but you sort of have an idea. And they said, Mr. President, sir, is there a problem? Now, you have to understand, they've been telling Obama and Biden for years, we're not taking your people back, and we just kept paying them like stupid people, pay, pay, pay. I said, they're delinquent. I said, you're delinquent. But they said to me, sir, is there a problem? We seem to have a problem. This was early in the morning. I got 3 separate calls almost at the same time. Is there a problem, sir? Because they were notified there's no more money coming their way. I said, yeah, the problem is all the people, and they send them. They don't just come here. They send them. They put them in caravans, and they send them. And they put most of their bad ones in those caravans. They put the prisoners, they put the mental patients, they put a lot of bad ones. So I said, no, we're not sending you any more money. They said, sir, we would be so delighted to take back MS-13. We love them very much. They took back everybody. From that point on, we took out thousands and thousands of criminals and we sent them back to their country. They said, we would be delighted to take them back, sir. And we took out thousands and thousands, and like Dwight Eisenhower, people think of Dwight Eisenhower as a moderate, but he wasn't a moderate when it came to the border. He was the toughest guy we had as a president. He hated when people would come across our border, and he would deport them immediately. Dwight Eisenhower, you don't think so? We have no choice, but we're going to have to do it. But we have a much bigger problem than he ever did, and the problem was caused by Kamala and Crooked Joe. I wonder if Joe got any money for doing that. Kamala wants to be the president for criminals and illegal aliens. I want to be the president for law-abiding Americans of every race, religion, color, and creed. Harris is so extreme and unhinged that she has even declared the terms illegal alien and radical Islamic terrorism to be forbidden and unacceptable. You're not allowed to use those terms, but that's what it is. Some of it. If she's elected, she will flood our country with refugees from Hamas-controlled terrorist epicenter in Gaza, the Gaza Strip. She wants to deposit thousands of jihadist sympathizers in Minnesota. You know that. You already have enough. I mean, how the hell do you have these Congress people elected? Ilhan Omar. No, she went to a speech when I was running. When I was first running, and I you know, in all fairness, I never did this stuff before I'm running, and this lunatic was in the audience. She started screaming. I said, who the hell is that? And it's the same crazy person that I watch every night. She's nuts. And she gets reelected by not a lot, but she gets reelected. How do you have people like that? I'm telling you, I was making a speech, and we had a lot of people, and she was like there someplace, and she got up and started screaming. I said, that woman is insane. She's crazy. And you know what? She's become like a major voice in Congress. Can you believe it? She's a sick woman, and she's destroying your state. She's hurting our country, and we shouldn't be electing people like that. They want to turn the Middle East. Remember this. They want to take a look at the Midwest. They want the Midwest to be just like the Middle East. That's what their plan is. Let's turn the Midwest into the Middle East. I think that's not going to work out. But we do not need a jihad in the United States of America, and we're not going to allow it. We're going to do something about it. We're going to be strong. We're going to be brave. We're going to be smart. We're going to listen to Tom Emmer and Pete and all of the other. You got great people in this group, I tell you. You have great people. And we do not need more people who want to burn our flag. I watched yesterday and the day before, they're burning our American flag. And I said, I know they say it's unconstitutional. Well, make it not unconstitutional. You burn our American flag, you should get immediately mandatory 1 year in jail. Unbelievable. Go for it. To do it. On day one of the Trump presidency, I will restore the travel ban, suspend refugee admission, stop the resettlement, and keep the terrorists the hell out of our country. We're not going to have terrorists in our country. It's no wonder the Democrat Party and their thugs are so desperate to stop us. They know that we are the only ones who can stop them, us. All of their persecution is only happening because I am running for president and leading big in the polls, including in the great state of Minnesota. I saw a poll today where I'm up to. Doesn't mean much, but it means something, right? 1972, Richard Nixon was elected. Can you believe that? I think there's some hanky-panky going on because I've had a lot of rallies here. We have rallies. What I've done for your upcountry with the iron ore. And those people, they loved us. And then these guys came back and they changed everything, and just disgraceful what they did. But I think, I'm telling you, if we have an honest election, we're going to blow it out in Minnesota.
look at the crowds. Look at the people back there. The radical left Democrats rigged the presidential election in 2020, and we're not going to allow them to rig the presidential election in 2024. We're not going to allow it to happen. And every time the radical left Democrats, Marxists, communists, and fascists indict me, I consider it a great badge of honor because I'm being indicted for you. Never forget, our enemies want to take away my freedom because I will never let them take away your freedom. I'm not going to let it happen. I say this. I got indicted more than Al Capone. You know, he was the meanest, most vicious guy. Scarface. Many movies made about Alphonse. He's a fine gentleman. If he didn't like you at a dinner, you were automatically dead before you got home to your lovely wife and family. What happened to Dad? Well, he had dinner with Al Capone. Never made it back. He was in the foundation of a building down the road. I got indicted more than him for what? Saying the election was crooked. The election was crooked. What a disgrace. You know what? And it works both ways. I mean, they're setting a terrible precedent. This has never happened before. Never, ever. It's never happened before. They want to silence me because I will never let them silence you. And in the end, they're not after me, they're after you. I just happen to be standing in their way. That's true. So just in closing, I have to say, because we're really joined by great people, we're pleased to be joined tonight by many fantastic Minnesota patriots, including House Majority Whip. And I can tell you, he's a tough guy and a strong guy. And we've become, I really believe, really good friends, and he's working the state. He's going to give me the biggest surprise on November 5th. Tom Emmer, great guy. And Mrs. Emmer, more important. Thank you both. Thank you both. Great couple. And members of Congress, he's a great hockey player. We're in a big hockey arena, but he's a great one of the best. Pete Stauber. Pete, thank you very much. Brad Finstat. Brad, thank you. Great. Good job. Michelle Fishbach. Thank you, Michelle. Great job. You have great people here. Minnesota House Republican leader Lisa Damon. Lisa, wherever you are. Thank you, Lisa. And Minnesota Senate Republican leader Mark Johnson. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Mark. Great job. We have great people. We have great people on this state. These are great leaders. They're patriots. From the moment we take back the White House from Kamala Harris and crooked Joe Biden, I believe we're going to have the 4 greatest years in the history of our country. We're going to do it fast. We're going to turn it around fast. We're going to get it started fast. Starting on day 1, we will end inflation and make America affordable again. It's not affordable now. People are dying. They can't afford bacon. They can't afford anything. To bring down the prices of all goods, we will stop the Biden-Harris war on American energy, and we will drill, baby, drill. We're going to drill. We're going to bring that sucker down. I will terminate the Green New Scam, the greatest scam in the history of our country. Trillions of dollars being thrown out the window. And I will end the Biden-Harris electric vehicle mandate on day 1. And I love electric cars. Elon Musk endorsed me. Elon is a great guy, endorsed me, but he understands this is right. There's a great place for electric cars, but not 100%. Some people like to drive long distances. There's an expense problem. There's a made in China problem. But I'm a big fan, but it's a different kind of a market. They want every car to be electric. You know, they built in the Midwest 8 charging stations. Think of it. It's like a gas pump with electricity. They spent $9 billion building 8 charging stations. Now they have another 24,000 charging stations to go. So based on that, it's like $10 trillion. The whole thing is crazy. We will pass massive tax cuts for workers, and that includes no tax on tips. No tax on tips. And that'll be done immediately. Immediately. To protect Minnesota workers, I revoked China's most favored nation trade status. Think of it. China has a clause in all its agreements. We are a developing nation. We will be giving much more favorable terms than the stupid United States, which is represented by stupid people. That will be revoked. I had it revoked, and then they gave it back. I mean, you got to ask, how much money did Biden get from China? Could I ask you that? It's a lot, right? Millions of dollars, right? From Russia, they got $3.5 million. I know that. Remember I asked? Why did the mayor of Moscow's wife give them $3.5 million? And Chris Wallace, who's not the father, believe me, this is not Mike Wallace, this is Chris Wallace. There's a difference of about 300%. But Chris Wallace said, you can't ask a question like that. 6 months later, it turned out to be a big question. No, I got $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow's wife. And I will pass the Trump Reciprocal Trade Act. That means that if China or any other country makes us pay a tariff or tax of 100 or 200 or 300%, we will make them pay a reciprocal tariff of 100, 200, or 300%. You heard us and we heard you. It's an eye for an eye. It's about time. And just as I did before, I will also rescue the Minnesota Iron Range. I rescued it. It was so beautiful. I'll never forget when I did that. I came up, and there were guys that worked there that had lost their jobs for years. These crazy people, they closed it down for no reason. It's the best material, the best iron ore there is in the world. You know that. The best in the world. And it's unlimited. It's not like, oh, gee, unlimited. And I met 4 guys that were so tough. They never cried, maybe when they were babies, you know, like at 1 or 2. But after 2, all 4 of them were crying. They were standing there bawling like a baby because I rescued their jobs. I gave them something that should have never been taken away. And they were doing great. And then Biden comes in. He has no idea what he's doing. And in his first week, he closed it. His first week. What a shame. But we're going to have it open. Tell those 4 guys, if you happen to meet them, no reason to cry. We're going to get it open again, all right? This is the first time they've cried maybe ever in their whole lives. They were rough-looking suckers, let me tell you. 4 years ago, I saved the Iron Range from the radical left, but the Biden-Harris administration shut the Iron Range down. You know, they did it immediately, imposing a brutal 20-year mining ban on 250,000 acres. But I will end that mining ban. We'll do it together, Tom. We will end that ban in about, what do you think, about 10 minutes? I would say 10 to 15 minutes, right, Pete? And tonight I pledge to Minnesota miners that when I'm reelected, I will reverse the Biden-Harris attack on your way of life, and we will turn the Iron Range into a mineral powerhouse like never before. That's what it is. It's a minerals powerhouse. Before I even arrive at the Oval Office shortly after we win the presidency, and I say we win, we're winning this together, I will have the horrible war between Russia and Ukraine settled, and I will do something that nobody else will be able to do because we're closer than ever. You see that today? I will prevent World War III. I will prevent it. I will restore peace through strength. That's what we had. We didn't have to fight. You know, I knocked out 100% of the ISIS caliphate. Did it in 1 month. It was supposed to take 5 years. We have the greatest military in the world, and they're not woke. Some of the stiffs on top are woke, but nobody cares about them. In my next term, we will build a great Iron Dome missile defense shield over our country, a dome like has never been ever seen before, and it will be entirely made in Minnesota and in the USA. It's going to be fully made in the USA, and Minnesota's got a big piece of it. You know, Israel's got it, and today they had a problem where something happened, but they knocked down, 6 months ago, 300 missiles were knocked down. If they weren't knocked down, it would have been devastation. But they, out of 300, 1 got through a little bit, it limped through and fell down harmlessly to the ground. But it essentially knocked out all 300. We're going to have something that's even superior. And why shouldn't we have
It's our technology. Why shouldn't we have protection so that we can protect this state and this country? Why shouldn't we? We do it for everybody else. We don't do it for ourselves. America first. I will not cut one penny from Social Security or Medicare, and I will not raise the retirement age by 1 day, not by 1 day. And for 4 years, I didn't. For 4 years, you saw that, I didn't. By contrast, Kamala Harris cast a tie-breaking vote to cut Medicare by $237 billion. You didn't know that? A betrayal of American seniors. She betrayed American seniors. She's the one that cast the final vote. We're going to rebuild our cities into beacons of hope and safety and beauty better than they have ever been before. We'll have to work with Democrat governors and mayors in some cases, but we'll work with them. We got to bring back our cities. Our cities are a travesty. We will take over the horribly run capital of our nation in Washington, D.C., and clean it up, renovate it, rebuild it, make it the most beautiful capital of the world, and get rid of the nightmare of murder and crime. It will be a safe city again. On day one, I will sign a new executive order to cut federal funding. We are going to cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, transgender insanity, and other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content onto the shoulders of our children. And I will not give 1 penny to any school that has a vaccine mandate or a mask mandate. And I will keep men out of women's sports. And I will fully uphold our Second Amendment, which, as you know, is under siege. As you know, I got the full and total support of the NRA. They totally endorse me and support me, but it is under siege, our Second Amendment. And nothing happened with us. We kept it, and we will keep it. You need it. You have to have it for protection and many other reasons. We will protect innocent life, and we will restore free speech, and I will secure our elections. Our goal will be 1 day voting with paper ballots, proof of citizenship, and voter ID. Very simple. But until then, Republicans must win. We got to win, win, win. We want a landslide that's going to be so successful. It's very hard. We got to win by a lot. We're going to do the too big to rig. Don't laugh. That's a nice little statement, but it means a lot. If you want to save America, get your friends, get your family, get everyone you know to vote early, vote absentee, vote on election day. I don't care when you vote, but you got to vote. You got to go out and vote. And if you want to help us ensure election integrity, sign up at protectthevote.com. Protectthevote.com. So in conclusion, from Rochester to Duluth, from Marshall to Minneapolis, from St. Paul to right here in St. Cloud, this state was pioneered by men and women who braved the wilderness and the frontier to build a life for themselves and for their beautiful families. They were farmers and miners, manufacturers and shipbuilders, soldiers and lumberjacks. And they helped build this country into the single greatest nation in the history of the world. But now we are a nation in decline. We are a nation in decline. Can you believe we have to say that? We are a failing nation. We are a nation that has no respect around the world. They laugh at us. We are a nation that has lost its confidence, willpower, and strength. We are a nation that has quite simply lost its way. But we are not going to allow this horror to continue. Less than 4 years ago, we were a great nation, and we will soon be a great nation again. With our leadership, every disaster Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have created can be fixed, and it can be fixed very quickly. You will be amazed at how quickly it will be fixed. This country will be put back together very soon. Every problem can be solved, and every wrong can be rectified.
By this time next year, America's borders will be strong, sealed, and secure. Inflation will be in full retreat. Our economy will be roaring back. Optimism will be surging. The American dream will be thriving again for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. Law and justice will reign all throughout our land. You'll be safe again. You'll be free again. Freedom will be restored. The flame of liberty will be burning bright. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, the worst administration in the history of our country, will be a fading memory of the past. They will be a fading memory. And our great silent majority, including the once forgotten men and women of our country, will be the ones shaping America's magnificent future when I am the 47th President of the United States of America. Because we are all Americans, and together we will show November 5th to be the most important day in the history of America. We are one movement, one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. And together we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America strong again, strong. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. We will make America free again. And we will make America great again. Thank you very much. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Minnesota. Minnesota, thank you.
Well, there you go. Trump in Minnesota. Huge crowd.
As usual. I told you it was more than Biden what Ken brings.
Yeah.
Great speech as usual.
Yeah, the subject matter's changing up a little bit now. He has a little bit of new material. He can talk about his running mate, J.D. Vance. He touches on the assassination attempt. I thought he was pretty classy, the way that he praised the female officer who people have been criticizing for being too short, but he had complimentary things to say about her. He again came out and talked about electric vehicles, ending the EV mandate, talked about defense, the wars in Gaza, in Ukraine, talked about preventing World War III. He, hitting all the
also
main
having our
points.
own dome or
Yes.
Iron Dome.
Yeah, which he's he's mentioned, started to mention that. I just talking about that makes me cringe a little bit, just because it makes me feel like we're living in, a strange new world.
Yeah, it's
for real.
true.
And and then he, of course, went after Kamala Harris in a pretty aggressive way.
Indeed.
Well,
although, when I report on Kamala or on Trump, I mean, I'm not pro anyone. I'm just, factualizing. So please, people, don't tell anyone that I have any bias. I don't.
yeah, well, you did a good job going out and getting the reaction from people, and I thought that report that we put together was entertaining and a little bit revealing.
It's original what you have done, putting some background music like that. I mean, I wouldn't have come up with something like that, but you did. So, I mean, You know what? Thanks, sir. It was fun. I do
Well,
appreciate the little comical background in there.
well,
Was
thank
fun.
you for going out onto the street and gathering those sound bites, doing those interviews. It
Well,
was fun.
even if sometimes it's frustrating because sometimes Montrealer are camera shy, I do love doing it. You know, it makes me go out. It makes me have some fun, having some interaction with some people, and doing something. I mean, I'm not. I'm poor. All right, I cannot put some money on your thing or donate as much as people would, but it's my way, I think, to contribute to the Maverick family and do something, interesting in a way. You know, it's out of my comfort zone, so it's fun.
And just as we kind of bring things to a conclusion tonight, just want to mention that three of the people involved in that big protest at Union Station during Benjamin Netanyahu's visit who were involved in that big protest and spray painting, graffiti, and honestly misbehaving. Three of them have now been charged with federal offenses, including carrying dangerous weapons or an attempt to carry a dangerous weapon. And what else can I tell you? Of course, did you see the that Last Supper thing?
Yeah, Blues
that happened at
Crouch
the Olympics?
guy. Yeah, the Blue Crouch kind of guy. Yeah, I've seen that
Yeah, but
yesterday.
I'm talking about the Last Supper. Well, I guess that was part of it, wasn't it? Yeah.
I think it was.
The blue scrotum man.
Mm-hmm. It was part of the segment. If like, I think he was closing his part, and then it was the supper thing.
The Last Supper. And the artistic director, Thomas Joly, for the Olympics, coming under a lot of criticism, taking a lot of heat for.
I'm Catholic, but
What do
I
you
mean,
think?
I'm not the kind of guy that is always going to misses every Sunday or whatever. But I mean, it does kind of trigger some.
You for this kind of display myself. This is a secular exhibit display. This is very political in that Christianity. The Olympics is, if you really want to talk about inclusion, which is what the artistic director is saying here. He's saying that he's justifying what he did here by Christians and maybe, religious groups that would not agree with this kind of display. So I'm not buying the inclusivity argument. I think that what has happened here is
Michelle, who's on the YouTube's, is called Squirrel Tribe. And she did a comment along the way that, I mean, little kids nowadays, and I mean, long time ago, I mean, if you do remember yourself, like to be one of those athletes, the thing is that they kind of send a certain message, athlete has to work hard to do whatever they like to have, I mean, whatever thing they are doing, or what is the sport they are doing, right? They are working hard to get to where they are. I mean, to be in the Olympic, you have work pretty hard to get there. And the inclusion part is not part of it. It's not supposed to be part of it because, I mean, what kind of message are you sending now to kids?
I think it's okay to be inclusive, but if you're going to be inclusive, just be inclusive, be tolerant. This is really not about inclusivity. This is about making a statement, a left-wing, socialistic, woke, progressive political statement. That's what it is. That's exactly what it is. And this is the same kind of display you got at Eurovision in Sweden. in a very explicit way, over and over and over again during that big music festival. You're getting it more and more in Western society, in all Western societies. I think it's destructive overall, but at least at Eurovision, that's an arts festival, and that's a more appropriate place for this kind of display. The arts have always involved politics to one degree or another, but the Olympics primarily is supposed to be about competition, the sport, right?
Who's better than the other one?
Wrapped around that, of course, you always end up with, though, politics, whether it's the politics on display in a very graphic way during Hitler's reign, when the Olympics went to Germany, whether it's terrorist bombings that we've seen over the years, trying to make a statement at the Olympics with terrorist groups getting involved, or artistic displays like this. This is a political message. I personally wish they could purge a lot of the politics from the Olympics, but it's also a gathering of the nations. And with a gathering of nations, you get a mix of political views, cultural views, religious views.
Everything's getting blended in.
It absolutely is. And so it ends up being inevitable. And here we're seeing this. This is, this is a political thing. And, I see it's a few people in the chat mentioning that, his sexual persuasion, his religion, maybe not his religion, his cultural and ethnic background. No, that's not really the issue here. The issue is the politics, not the other stuff so much. Everything influences someone's worldview, of course, and where he comes from within his country and his society. He's coming from the left. That's what this is. This is left-wing progressive politics in hyperdrive at the Olympics, and he's doing this because you have a bunch of left-wing politicians who have hired him as the artistic director to do exactly that.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen the post about it was a balloon next to, it was an imagery made into the entrance of the yesterday, I think. It was the how is it called, damn it? Statue of the Liberty kind of being battered, if you will, next to a
Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, no, I mean, to me, it's what kind of message are you sending here?
An anti-West, anti-capitalist, anti-American, anti-Israel, free market, anti-freedom message is what it is.
I know.
Well, Dragon, it's time to wrap things up. We're kind of out of time here tonight. I'll throw it over to you for a very quick last comment, sir.
Last comment, guys, as I will always say, and now, don't always ingest the conspiracy theory as it's good food for your mind. Sometimes it's maybe too much food and junks for your mind. So please try to stay focused on the right stuff.
Okay, and we will be back tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Love you guys. Thanks for hanging out. Catch you tomorrow on the flip side.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.